Welcome, everyone, to the Fandom Podcast Network special presentation of Time Warp, where we cover the movies and pop culture of an entire year. In this year's episode of Time Warp, we'll cover the year of 1990 pop culture, which includes the movies, TV, and notable news events. The 1990 movies, pop culture, and events are all celebrating their 35th anniversary as of this recording. Welcome to Time Warp 1990. And on this episode, we will cover the movies and pop culture released in October of 1990. My name is Kevin. I'm your host. And I'd like to, first of all, let you know that you are on here, the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. If you're watching this, we appreciate that. And give us a like and a subscribe. This is Time Warp. Also, please check out fpnet.podbean.com. That is our audio podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out our QR code. It'll take you to our website and check out all of the other great shows under the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella. My name is Kevin. I'm going to be your host, but let's introduce my co-host for this time travel journey back to 1990. With me, as always, is the queen of movie food. Please welcome Lacey Pants. Lacey Adderhold, how are you, dear?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Very excited. This is going to be a good one. Also, your hair's getting long.
It is. I'm not tripping on it yet, but it is getting longer.
you doing something for Halloween?
And it has nothing to do with the hair. I just haven't cut it in like 6 months. So yeah.
Right on.
Well, we need to also bring in my co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, the man who shares my brain. Please welcome Mr. Kyle Wagner. What's up, buddy?
I'm excited to be here. I've had a little adventure. I took a trip to the zip code 90210. I met somebody about my destiny. It turns out I'm marked for death. So it's going to be one of those. Plus, we're recording this on Devil's Night because it is the October time warp. So if my face goes white with black lines sometime during this podcast, some of you guys will know what's up. I'm just saying.
I like what you did there. I like how you said that you took a trip to 90210. I'm going to challenge you on that later.
I know you are.
We are celebrating the movies of 1990, and we'll be talking about some of the shows of 1990 as well. But we want to let you guys know what has arrived on the Fandom Podcast Network, specifically in the Time Warp Podcast Theater. And of course, we last year we did stuff on my Raiders and all the Raider players who acted in movies. We also did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That'll come up a little bit later, by the way. We did a wonderful retrospective a while back. And last year we covered all of the movies of 1984. They celebrated their 40th anniversary last year. We had a lot of fun. But this time we're talking about the movies in 1990. We've gone through the first 6 months or so. Now on the latter half of this year, of course, this is October, and we got more coming up. But guys, I want to ask you something real quick. I got a really kind of funny picture here, but I wanted to first of all ask if there's anything that you guys have been watching, like maybe from the last one. And I'm going to start because we talked about this TV series in the last episode here, and the TV series that I'm speaking of here is Dracula, the TV series. Kyle, do you remember the series when we were talking about this?
I remember kind of fuzzy, but if I remember right, isn't there something very special about that series for the lovely Mrs. Reitzel?
I don't know what you're referring to. Can you say?
Maybe I'm mistaken because I just edited our Fright Night podcast, and I thought there was a mention of when it was a Dracula movie that there was somebody she was very attracted to. That was it.
It's not this series. No, that was thank you for bringing up Fright Night. That's going to be dropping on the network shortly. Aaron and I did a fun podcast celebrating the 40th anniversary of Fright Night. But no, this was a different series. And when you listen to the podcast, you'll know what she's talking about. But this is the TV series we talked about last month called Dracula that only lasted one season. I did something dumb. I want to ask you guys if you've ever done this before. Have you ever gone onto eBay and tried to find what you're looking for, and you found a couple of different, people selling it? And I found one and I bought it, and I thought it was a decent price. And this Dracula series, I ended up watching the first episode. Young Mia Kirshner in this, by the way.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And it was fun, campy fun, with Bernard Behrens as like the older guy who kind of, guides them through this monster world and with reoccurring villains and stuff. And I watched the first episode and I enjoyed it. Bernard Behrens, by the way, I may have mentioned, did the voice of Obi-Wan in the Star Wars radio dramas. But back to what I did, the mistake that I did. So I ordered it, I got it, right? And then for some reason, I don't know how it happened. I don't know if I I think I accidentally butt dialed and bought the other one by mistake.
Oh.
So now I have 2 copies of this Dracula TV series.
So what you're saying is you've just invented butt shopping.
It's exact. Have you guys ever done that before? Have you ever accidentally butt shopped?
I've never butt shopped.
I've never butt shopped, but I have midnight shopped, where
Okay.
I'll wake up and I'll have a box on the front porch, and I'll go back and look at my Amazon or my Walmart or whatever, or I'll see it and I'll, oh, that's weird.
Didn't remember doing it. Yeah,
With
right.
my email, and it'll be like, 4 days ago at 3:47 a.m. I got an email saying that congratulations on your purchase of whatever, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I think I literally butt shopped because I saw that I ordered it and I couldn't take it back, and I'm like, okay, so now I got 2 copies of this 1990 Dracula TV series that only lasted 1 year. Lacey, you said you watched something that we talked about the last episode. What did you watch?
Yes. Did I tell you what it was?
It was the Gene Wilder film, I think it was.
Funny About Love.
Yes.
It was cute. It was definitely of its time. And it was probably something that that still kind of resonates today, because it's about a man who wants a family, and he and his wife are trying, and it's a kind of a reproductive health kind of thing with what's it called, in vitro and all that kind of stuff. And they're just failing and all this kind of whatnot. And so,
what'd you think of it?
It was good. I mean, it was more dramatic than I expected, because usually I get the Gene Wilder and it's
you expect to be a little bit more funnier, but
even in the dramas, he's usually the funny guy.
Yeah.
Good movie, good drama, couple of bits of humor, but also Mary Catherine Parker. Sorry, wow. Who's one of my favorites. She was in Some Kind of Wonderful. She's in it. She plays his girlfriend, oddly, when he and his wife break up. So it's like this young. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. If you enjoy a good drama, that is it's going to be up your alley. But I will say that it does have some trigger warnings about like infertility, loss of a child, that kind of thing.
So, quick question: are you keeping the movie? Because I'm not keeping my copy.
You know what? I do. I love a good Gene Wilder flick. So he's one that I bought a subscription to, like you always.
I like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I did just get the Remembering Gene Wilder documentary. So
gotcha.
That's going to be good too.
So, doing this podcast, one of the challenges is trying to find time to watch these movies, as you guys notice, and we can't always find them. When we do, we say, "Oh, we found it streaming." You're holding up your collection there. I have mine all ready to go.
I have the order that we're going to talk about.
Well, I've found a new way, not a new way. I've returned to an old way to watch these. So some of these you find on physical media, you can't find streaming anywhere. And one of the movies we'll discuss is Sibling Rivalry, which is a Christy Alley film. And can you tell what I'm doing in this picture right here?
That looks like a portable DVD player, my friend.
Nice.
I busted out my portable DVD player that I had, and it still works, to watch this movie during my lunch breaks.
Nice.
And that is in my car during my lunch break at work, watching this film in low SD, if that's the thing, on the DVD, watching this thing. And you can power it by battery. I don't know how long the battery lasts, or as I did, you can plug it into your cigarette car lighter thing and power it up and keep it going there. So that is what I do for movies.
It's funny. I always think that, when I go on road trips and stuff, especially if I'm driving to a convention or whatever, I always feel like the time in the car is wasted because I don't really listen to music that much. And when you're trying to do a podcast, you lose some of the connections and stuff depending on where you're going. So I actually have a portable Blu-ray player where I right before I leave on a vacation, I will watch a bunch of movies that I haven't watched the commentaries of. And I'll take the commentaries and I'll play the commentary while I'm driving so I can listen to commentaries while I drive.
I should get a portable Blu-ray player because that's a DVD player. What do you got there, Kyle?
Yeah.
This is what we call in the modern age an iPad. And I download movies onto this and watch movies on it.
But if you can't download them, Kyle, you got to go to physical media players. Well, guys, let's go ahead and get into this month of movies. Let's take a time warp back to 1990 October. Let's step back into 1990. Let's fuel up that DeLorean with a flux capacitor, slingshot around the sun aboard a captured Klingon bird of prey. Take a step into that blue police box or phone box. Step into that quantum leap accelerator, or take a dip in that hot tub time machine as we travel back to 1990, where we're going to remind you of what's been happening in pop culture, sports, politics, television, and of course, the movies of 1990. All right, 1990. Awesome. Since 1990, we got a lot of stuff that's been happening around. Of course, a lot of pop culture as well. Super Bowl with San Francisco 49ers. And by the way, I got to share something kind of funny that happened at work today. And this is a sports ball thing, Lacey. So sorry. But Kyle, you'll find this funny. I saw this woman. She was very sweet, but she was wearing a 1995 NFC Championship Chargers sweatshirt.
After what happened to them in that Super Bowl, I don't think anybody should be even wearing anything.
It was their only time to the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, and they lost horribly. So yeah.
That was the Steve Young 49ers destruction of the Chargers.
So, but no, what I'm saying is it one of those things where, because when they at the Super Bowl, people take a big gamble. The sellers, the t-shirt sellers, they take a big gamble and they'll buy one thing that says winner.
No, it's not that. It was a NFC Championship sweatshirt, meaning that was the furthest that they got into. Like they didn't win the big prize. They won the secondary prize, getting to the big prize, so to speak. I just thought that was funny.
I was gonna say, because a lot of times the vendors will get both.
No, I know. Yeah.
And they donate the ones that are not the winners. They donate those to like
Africa or something.
Third world countries, things like that.
They also do it for in the United States for a tax write-off.
Yeah,
and so it's possible that there are a bunch of people out there winning. Like,
no, this was a we've won the NFC Championship thing, and then but then the next game they played, which really was the most important one, they lost. So yeah,
got it.
Let's get into some world news here, guys. So this is interesting. We're podcasting because of this guy, apparently. October, Tim Berners-Lee begins his work on the World Wide Web 19 months after his seminal 1989 outline of what would become the web concept.
So this is the man who's responsible for our destruction.
Exactly.
Right.
Skynet and all that. So yeah.
Social media, the downfall of the world. Yes.
October 3rd, the Cold War. East Germany and West Germany unify into a single Germany. Yay. Thank you, David Hasselhoff.
It's all about the Hoff.
October 8th, the first McDonald's restaurant is open in mainland China in Shenzhen near Hong Kong.
Nice.
And October 15th, 1990, South Africa ends segregation of libraries, trains, buses, toilets, swimming pools, and other public facilities.
I was good friends with someone who is from South Africa at high school in 1990, and I will never forget. Like, she came to say she was bawling with happiness. Like, it was a huge thing.
That was huge. Big deal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into toys and techs and products that we like to highlight a few here in 1990. The first one that we have here is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the SNES. US equivalent at the time was $199, but if you kind of do the inflation thing, right now it's at $445. Pretty sleek there, Kyle. Super Nintendo released 1990. The SNES was a revolutionary 16-bit video game console that took the world by storm upon its release on November 21st, 1990 in Japan, and later in August 1991 in North America. Developed by the iconic Japanese gaming company Nintendo, the SNES was a successor of the widely popular Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, and it quickly became the most sought-after gaming system of the 1990s. Some of the most popular games for this were Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Donkey Kong Country. These games were not only known for their engaging gameplay, but also their exceptional graphics and sound designs, which pushed the limits that was possible in the 16-bit era.
Still 20% cheaper than a PlayStation 5.
Kyle?
Here, real quick, just as a thing in the importance of the SNES, it wasn't actually the most popular Nintendo system. There's been many systems, the original and ones after it that were popular. But this is the one that saved Nintendo's bacon because at the time this came out, Sega was destroying Nintendo in the video game market with the Genesis.
Thank you
it
for
wasn't
properly
really even
pronouncing Sega.
or you can go Sega.
There
But
you go.
this has its place in history for Nintendo. What's more interesting about this is this was the last big system to come out before we hit the PlayStation Xbox era. And then things really changed.
What did you think of the gameplay and the controller for this?
It's one of those controllers. It's got a great design to it for holding it. But this is when we started getting too many buttons on these controllers. You had the 4 on there, you had the 2 on the top. It was starting to become a little crowded on my controller. And it's one of the things that drives me nuts now, as much as you get used to it, but there's just too many buttons on these controllers these days.
Yeah. Lacey, did you ever play this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah.
I had an Atari until I had a PlayStation 1.
Gotcha.
And then I had that until I got a Wii. And I still have the Wii and the PlayStation 1.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next thing I don't remember, but apparently was a thing, guys. Metal clay. Metal clay is a crafting medium consisting of very small particles of metal such as silver, gold, bronze, or copper mixed with an organic binder and water for use of making jewelry, beads, and small sculptures. Originating in Japan in 1990, metal clay can be shaped just like any soft clay by hand or using molds. After drying, the clay can be fired in a variety of ways, such as in a kiln. With a handheld gas torch or a gas stove, depending on the type of clay and the metal in it, the binder burns away, leaving the pure sintered metal. Shrinkage of between 8% and 30% occurs depending on the product used. Alloys such as bronze, sterling silver, and steel also are available. Do you guys remember this at all?
Oh, yeah.
I don't at all.
Explain, Lacey, because I was just like, what?
It's the same as, I didn't use it. I did not, but I was actually in pottery and molding classes in high school. That was one of our optional classes we could take for art. And as if anybody knows me, they know that I prefer art over sport. So I was allowed to take a couple of, because I had already gotten all my other classes out of the way. And so my senior year, I was in, I think, 4 art classes or something. I definitely remember girls coming to school with like initials and stuff around their necks. I remember
it kind of looks like a shiny pewter. That's what I'm looking at in this picture.
But I do remember our teacher, our professor, art teacher there was a couple girls who loved this stuff, and she would let them use it wasn't a kiln, it was like the small little baby one that sat next to the kiln.
Gotcha.
Cool. So
the next thing we're going to talk about here is the Star Wars Escape from the Death Star. It's a board game published in 1990 by West End Games. And if you're looking at there, you can see the board game there. But I have a question for you guys. So there was an original one that came out a lot earlier, but this one here, I'll get to that in a second. This is a role-playing adventure board game published by West End Games in 1990. It was written by Stephen Hand. It's an innovative multiplayer solitaire game. You take the role of one of the major heroes in the Star Wars movie. You must find your way off the battle station before the Imperials close in. Only Obi-Wan Kenobi and the droids R2-D2 and C-3PO can help you in your fight. Your survival depends upon your skill and the Force as you race against time to disengage the tractor beam and reach the Millennium Falcon. Your only hope of escape. Escape from the Death Star recreates the dramatic fight of the rebel heroes from the battle station in Star Wars A New Hope. Now, I bring this up here, guys, because West End Games did a lot of wonders for doing Star Wars RPG, having some cool new characters, expanding on the characters. They did a lot with a lot of Star Wars canon before it kind of started to change later on with, more of the books and stuff like that. But there was a lot of these West End Star Wars games. First of all, Kyle, do you remember this particular game in RPG?
I believe we actually got it in the comic shop I was working at one time. I never actually played it, But the big thing was I remember they basically expanded that 1977 Escape from the Death Star, added a lot more to it, and made it a lot more of an RPG style game. But I don't think it ever really quite caught on, because that 1977 version, which I know has been remade here within the last 5 to 10 years by Toy Wiz, was such a great classic board game that I owned that forever, and it was one of my favorites.
Glad you brought that up, because pieces broke and damaged, but then I found one in a really good condition. I think back in 2018, I remember playing with my daughter Camille, even with her grandma. It was a lot of fun, and it's still in pretty decent condition, but they reissued the game, as you mentioned, more recently, and I bought this one. This is the reissued version right here, okay? If you're looking at
the figure this time.
Yes, so this is what the original one looked like, with the exception of the Grand Moff Tarkin figure that these new ones came with. Here, I'll kind of hold it up right there. There you go. This one came with the Grand Moff Tarkin, which is kind of cool, but the outside design of the board game is exactly the same, other than showing you a figure that you're getting, including the back of it. This is what the board game looked like, and it was so much fun, because you start here in the trash compactor, and you slowly have to find your way. There's the detention center there. That's kind of like the go to jail thing on Monopoly. And you had to get yourself to the Millennium Falcon over here and then fly away. It was really cool. A lot of fun little cards and things that, helped you or hurt you and stuff. And I haven't opened this up because it's still sealed, and I kind of like it that way. But that board game, you remember, Kyle, was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I can also remember playing it and having it where you took forever to get the proper spinach to get out of the trash compactor.
Yes, that's right. That little spinny thing. Yes,
I have played that. Yes,
you have.
I I absolutely remember not being able to get out of the trash compactor. I do remember that.
Good stuff there. Good stuff. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to move ahead forward here. I just wanted to get to the music part of the show here, guys. And this is, of course, Time Warp 1990, October. But, we also like to cover musical events and news as well. So let's go ahead and hit some music. First, we're going to start with some music news here, guys. And if you guys, I don't know if you remember this or not, but October 9th, 1990, Leonard Bernstein announces his retirement from conducting at the podium. And unfortunately, he dies 5 days later. I remember kind of hearing about this. I know how famous that he was, but I know this is a big deal for a lot of people. More for my parents and grandparents, I guess. But yeah. So
yeah.
This, I do remember. This is a big deal. October 20th, 1990, a Florida jury acquits 2 live crew of the obscenity charges stemming from a June 10th performance of their act known for its sexually explicit lyrics. Kyle, were you in Florida during this time? Do you remember this?
No, 90, I was still in Alaska, but this was something that made national headlines everywhere. And I remember hearing about this, and of course, having family here in Florida and now everything being in Miami, I would hear a little bit more about it from them. But this was huge. I mean, this was really what started it really put rap on a whole nother level, because everybody was talking about it. It really put the focus on the parental advisory warnings, even though they were already kind of existent, but it just put that at another level. And it was one of those moments in music that it changed everything.
I was trying to remember too, Lacey, that, I remember I actually had this album. I think I actually have it on like recorded cassette now, because I think I either sold the original album or whatever, but I just remember like their lyrics sexually were very explicit. And there's been other albums that have been explicit and stuff, but I feel like they really pushed the envelope, and it was more about, censorship. That was a big deal. But then it's just like, well, how explicit do you need to be? I don't know.
I really don't have a dog in this fight, man. Like I don't listen to a lot of music anyway, and I have a tendency not to listen to things that would get me in trouble with my parents, which would have definitely been this thing. Like I was the good kid.
Yeah, this one would have definitely got you in trouble with everybody.
I wasn't allowed to buy the Purple Rain album until I think I bought it when I was 17. Like I think it came out when I was 14. I was allowed to have Footloose, but I was not allowed to have Prince.
Right.
The big thing was too, you had basically 2 live crew on the East Coast going through this, and basically they were going after NWA at the same time on the West Coast.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good point. So the next one's interesting here, guys. And if you're watching the YouTube video, check out the set list here. October 22nd, Pearl Jam, then named Mookie Blaylock, play their first show as a band at the Off Ramp Club in Seattle, Washington. And if you're looking at the video, they actually have the set list that you would, get after the show, or maybe one of the band members save this, that, reminds everyone in the band of what songs are playing. And several of these songs, including Alive, Even Flow, and a couple other ones on the set list, were the ones that were on the first Pearl Jam album that came out. And you can see the set list is actually looks like it's signed by one of them, and it actually has the date 10/23/1990. So if you're a rock and roll fan there, that's a big deal.
Kevin, can I just take a second to explain the Mookie Blaylock thing?
Please do.
So those of you who are Pearl Jam fans know all about this. You might like Pearl Jam, you don't know about this. Eddie Vedder is a huge sports fan. Okay. And there is a basketball player who played most of his career with the Atlanta Hawks, but he bounced around the league a little bit. He was a good player, not really ever an all-star, but his name was Mookie Blaylock. And everybody loved him for his name. The band became friends with him when he played for the Seattle Sonics at the time. And he was like, go for it. And then of course they realized, rights and everything like that. They went with Pearl Jam, but that is where Mookie Blaylock came from.
That's a great name. I do remember that guy, and I vaguely knew the reference. So thank you for expanding on that. But
I feel like that's kind of a Leonard Skinner thing, because Leonard Skinner was Mr. Leonard was their gym teacher, and if you showed up late to class, he'd say, "I'm gonna skin you."
Yeah,
that was like, that's why they ended up with Leonard Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of one of my first major bands. We were all going to name our band after the same girl we all dated, but we didn't decide not to do that.
Oh, no. I will say that they're a big fan of like single word songs.
Yes. Yeah. So next bit of news we have here, guys. October 27th, Janet Jackson's Black Cat reaches #1. It was also the first song to simultaneously peak atop the Billboard Hot 100 and the mainstream rock chart. She was just killing it during this time. She was on a roll.
She was the Jackson who owned the world at that time.
This is true. Yeah.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the Billboard Top 100. All right. Here is the list we have here. We've been counting down from the top 100 there. Lacey, do me a favor if you can turn down your computer volume a little bit there, because it's coming through. We can hear it. Just a little bit there. Yeah, thanks. All right. So we're now down to number 29 through 22 here, guys. And I got to be honest, a lot of the songs that we've been doing on here, I know most of them, but I only know a few of these. At number 29 was Don't Want to Fall in Love by Jane Child. I do remember that. Number 28, we have Love Will Lead You Back by Taylor Dayne. 27, Can't Live Without You, Love and Affection. 26, The Power by Snap. I remember that one. If Wishes Came True at number 25 by Sweet Sensation. 24, She Ain't Worth It by Glenn Medeiros featuring Bobby Brown. Number 23 was Rub You the Right Way, Johnny Gill. And number 22, I Want to Be Rich by Calloway. Kyle, what drops? I mean, I remember Love and Affection by Nelson. This was during the hair era.
Yeah.
And these guys were all in the hair with these guys with Gunnar and Matthew.
The Hera.
Hera, yes. Well said.
So
Kyle, your thoughts?
I remember Taylor Dayne, Love and Affection with Nelson. If Wishes Came True, because I remember that Sweet Sensation was kind of a thrown together band. But for me, and I Want to Be Rich was used in a lot of different TV and movie. But for me, I was a huge New Edition fan. This was Johnny Gill's first solo album. I was all over that. Rub You the Right Way was just a hip hop sensation song. And I was buying up anything New Edition. This is after they broke up. They were each coming out with their solo albums. Bobby Brown had come out with his earlier that had My Prerogative on it. Johnny Gill was the second. Eventually, then you got Belle Biv DeVoe with Poison, and then Trez Van put his album out as well. So yeah, this was a huge time for hip hop.
Was it The Power? I'm trying to remember how it goes. I remember the beat a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big hit.
Power was a huge club song.
Yes, yes. Lacey, do any of these jump out at you? Do you remember it all?
I know who Nelson was. I honestly thought Johnny Gill Rub You the Right Way was like a country song because that sounded like it sounds like a country song. I recognize Bobby Brown. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I don't.
I remember Jane Child had that long braided beaded hairstyle. I remember the video very well.
I could not tell you. I could not tell you what these people looked like. I could not tell you how tall they were. I could not tell you what genre of music these are.
Not familiar with most of these. Gotcha.
Yeah, nothing.
Well, let's get into the television shows of 1990, guys. So a couple of, or one of the more notable TV events that happened in October was kind of a big deal for a huge soap star here, guys. October 6th, All My Children star Susan Lucci guest host an episode of Saturday Night Live, becoming the first daytime soap opera performer to do so. She was such a huge star, though, guys, right?
She was huge. She transcended daytime more than any other actor out there. And I mean, she's an icon. Erica Kane.
You're the one that took like 30 years to finally get nominated for.
She was nominated every year, and I think
it took like 30 years to win it finally.
It really was crazy. It was like 26th or 24th time she was nominated. She finally won, and the thing is, she was completely she was so shocked that she didn't even write a thing. Like she didn't even write anything. I think I remember there being this whole thing where she was just like, I don't. Okay.
Yeah, because she'd been passed over so much. She was just like, but yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
I love her. Okay, Kyle, I'm going to need you to talk about one of these 1990 TV debuts here. And the first one we're going to bring to the channel here, debuting October 1st, 1990, is the UWF Fury Hour. And I had to recheck that. I thought it said furry, but it's Fury Hour on the Sports Channel America, the UWF, Universal Wrestling Federation. Fury Hour. So there's this guy they got a picture of here called Colonel De Beers. He's wearing a bunch of medals. Kyle, you're the wrestling guy. I am not. What is the Universal Wrestling Federation Fury Hour about?
Basically, it's a blip on the radar because it never got picked up by anything major. 1990 was the wrong time to try to start up a wrestling federation because you had the WWF. They were kind of winding down with Hulk Hogan, but you had Ted Turner's WCW really getting big.
Okay.
This was kind of one of those things. It came out, it was there, and it was gone. I mean, that's to be honest.
All right. The next one, Lacey, you're on mute, by the way.
I would like to say that I'm kind of concerned with this, his medals. This person is very much not military. He does not know how to wear medals. Like this is not
I think that's
not a thing.
I think that's the joke, though.
Yeah,
I hope
that's
so.
the gimmick.
I really hope so.
And he's got an eye patch too, and he's got like a long mustache. So
it's a whole situation.
Yeah, definitely. It is funny looking. The next thing, I'm having trouble remembering this, and it seems like it would have been something I would have watched. But I was getting less away from video games and getting more into music. But October 1st, the Video Power TV series went to syndication. Video Power was a 1990 early teens morning show hosted by Johnny Arcade, who provided news and hints on video games and also included a cartoon series called The Power Team. After the first season, it became a young teens game show. Any memory of this? Anyone?
Not really. The big video game thing that was going on around this time was actually Captain N, the Game Master.
Okay.
The only thing I remember from around this time would be Remote Control.
Yeah, now you're talking, Lacey.
Yeah, Remote Control. And there was one other game show that I watched that I just religiously loved it.
Yes.
It's interesting you bring up Remote Control because there's somebody who was on Remote Control who's was a special guest on a show we're about to talk about in one of the seasons.
Yes.
Well, the show that Kyle is talking about is on this day, October 4th, 1990. Kyle, you okay there, buddy?
I just realized I don't have my sideburns on.
1990, October 4th, Beverly Hills 90210. debuted on TV. The series ran for 10 seasons on Fox until May 17th, 2000, guys. I remember this well. I jumped on this right away. Kyle, I want to start with you here because you've actually been doing a rewatch of this TV series. You inspired me to at least watch like the first, I think, 4 to 6 episodes. I did that recently. I also picked up the first season on DVD here. Kyle, how far are you in right now on your rewatch of this series? And why are you watching it?
So it started, okay, why I'm watching this, it started off, I was just going through some old things. I watched the first episode of 90210, and I had to reach out to Kevin because I needed him to verify a couple people who were in it, particularly one Diamond Hunsow, who was a bouncer at a club.
Diamond Hunsow, yeah, he played a bouncer in the first episode, I think, right?
And so I just kind of got pulled into it, and just seeing all the people who guest starred on 90210 through that 10-year run is just astronomical. Plus, you know, there might be a little crushing on Jenny Garth at that time and Shannon Doherty, but it's one of those shows, though. It was such an iconic show because it really reflected a lot of pop culture. It became so huge. I mean, all of the cast just couldn't go anywhere for a while. I remember when Luke Perry and Jason Priestley both hosted SNL. The sad part of it is, though, to really truly find a true 90210 rewatch, unless you own the DVDs or have an old digital copy of it, because of all the music, especially later in the seasons when they were doing the nightclub and stuff like that.
Yeah,
their episodes are so edited because of the band rights and everything like that. It's really kind of sad. But this also inspired a conversation I had recently with Kevin about, do shows that start in high school have a really bad tendency to drop off once their characters go to college?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's because when you are writing a show for high school, you're playing the show. The audience is in high school. When you go to college, you don't have time to watch TV. So when your show transitions to college, you're not playing to the high school crowd anymore. You're playing to their older sibling, and their older sibling doesn't have time, you know, well, maybe now because you can, you know, with VHR, DVRs and stuff, but
I don't know if it has an issue has to do with time. I think it has more have to do with the topics, because I think that with high school, there seems to be a more nostalgic grab and hold because most people go to high school, but not everyone goes to college. And there's so many iconic things that happen in high school for everyone to go through that college doesn't carry over these traditions, you know, like the dances, you know, all the different dances that they had and all of the drama that seems to go in between lockers and doing stuff for the first time, losing your virginity, drinking for the first time, you know, these things seem to resonate more within the high school years. And you really have to age these people up in college and have these new set of challenges that not everyone can relate to, is what I was going off. What do you think, Kyle?
Well, I think first of all, too, at this point, they're all in their mid-20s when they're playing high school students.
Yeah.
Except for
Gabrielle Carteris. She was like pushing 30, right?
Yeah.
She was 31 when she started the show.
Yeah, 31.
Well, but
wow.
31.
I just gotta say this real quick because I know we've got other things, but it is hard to look at this picture and not realize that we don't have Luke Perry and Shannon Doherty with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got on the YouTube channel. I got a picture of the cast here, and yeah. Well, I want to let you guys know.
It's also a tough watch to watch now because the number of times, just in the first season alone, the number of times that Brenda Walsh is treated like an absolute like second class citizen in comparison to Brandon, and what he's allowed to do because he's a boy and what she's not allowed to do because she's a girl is ridiculous. Like in a post feminist, post Me Too, all that, like it is nuts to try and watch the first season of 90210 right now because it's like they have the conversation of Brandon. It's like, well, take condoms. Well, and with her, it's like, you're staying home. You're home by 9. We're going to lock you in the trunk. Like it's just, it's crazy.
Kyle, you made a reference to someone in remote control in 90210. You want to finish that reference?
Yeah. Season 4 of 90210. Kari Wurr plays a music executive.
Can you say her name? Can you say her name again?
Only one more time again, then there's going to be problems. Kari Wurr. She seduces a young David Silver and breaks up David and Donna.
Breaks up David and who?
Donna. Tori
David
Spelling's
and Donna.
character.
Oh, yeah.
Who, by the way, were both at Huntsville last year, and so nice.
A convention, right? Yes. Cool.
Huntsville,
that's awesome.
Kind of pop culture.
Well, Kyle, you had made a reference at the beginning of the show about visiting 90210, and I said I was going to challenge you on that, right?
Mm-hmm. You did.
Well, the actual filming of the school of 90210, the high school they went to, was Torrance High School. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I actually went to go visit it. More specifically, because there's another TV series that also filmed there. Not only was West Beverly filmed there, but Sunnydale High School, Buffy, was also filmed there. And these pictures we took here of the front of the school here. We couldn't get into the courtyard area where a lot of the scenes were done because it was the school was closed. But yeah, we took pictures in front of the school right there, had a little fun. I was wearing my bronze nightclub t-shirt while my wife, Erin, was wearing her Buffy t-shirt there. So we had a lot of fun visiting the school there. Torrance High School. And by the way, if you are a Buffy fan, literally like 2 blocks away is the actual house that they would film Buffy at as well, too, the outside the house. So Kyle, I've been to 90210, just saying.
Yeah.
So I used to live in LA, and it's crazy to think it's bizarre. It's becoming the same in Atlanta now. Like you drive around and you'll see like Mystic Falls and Walking Dead, and you're just kind of all around. It's one of those kind of wacky.
It just confirms the one thing I've always suspected, Kevin. Beverly Hills is a hellmouth.
When I lived in LA, my zip code was 90210.
There you go. There was another show that I just wanted to mention briefly I'd never heard of that premiered in October 24th of 1990 called WIOU. Was premiered on CBS. Hank Zarrett becomes a news director for WNDY. Team include anchors Neil Fraser, Kelby Robertson, reporters Eddie and Taylor, producer Liz Field, and producer and intern Willis and cameraman Mark. Stars John Shea, Helen Shaver, Harris Yulin, Dick Van Patten, and Jane Brooke. And Detroit News called it a well-acted, darkly humorous ensemble genre. And it was on 10 p.m. at night on CBS. How far will Hank go to protect Kelby's source? So obviously it was a kind of dramedy comedy around a TV newscast series. Before news radio, I'm guessing, kind of like it, but more of a drama take on it. So not heard of it. So you guys heard of it? I hadn't heard of it.
No, it kind of has just what's the one with Maura Tierney? Just David Spade was in it. Kind of
Just Shoot Me. Just Shoot Me.
Yeah, Just Shoot Me. Like it kind of has the Just Shoot Me news.
Laura San Giacomo was in that one.
Was that the? Okay. Yeah.
Definitely.
Wait, Maura Tierney was the other one. News Radio. Sorry.
There you go. All right, guys. Next we like to highlight 3 of 1990's top rated television series. And we had some interesting ones here. This one I never did watch, but I know how popular it was. This was Empty Nest. Empty Nest was the number 7 most highest rated show in 1990. Empty Nest tells the day-to-day misadventures of a widowed pediatrician named Harry Weston and his 2 adult daughters, Barbara and Carol, who have come back to live with him after failed marriages. Stars Richard Mulligan, Diana Menoff, David Leisure, and Christy McNichol. Lacey, have you watched this series?
I loved this show. It was a spinoff of Golden Girls. It was so delightful, and I mean, it was fun to watch Christy McNichol because I remember watching her in like all of her younger stuff, you know, Little Darlings and all that kind of stuff, and she was like one of my favorite people on TV. And I think this only what three or four seasons, but I have been waiting for this to be like retro DVD Blu-ray. This is one of those ones.
I think it went longer actually. It went from 88 to 95. 88 to 95.
Okay. So it's like 6 or 7 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
But I really want this to come. This is like on the level with Dream On. Like I want Dream On. I want this. I want them to do Cougar Town, the whole series.
I would totally watch that again. I just remember David Leisure was the guy that did those great car commercials where he was the liar. Kyle.
He was one. I was just talking to Alex about this. He was one of the Hare Krishnas in Airplane.
Yes. Kyle.
So fun.
This was the big comeback for Christy McNichol. That's what everybody was talking about because it was after she had all of her problems. But it was the neighbor, and I can't think of the actor's name. That broke out, really was the breakout star of this because
was it David Leisure?
Yeah, David Leisure. He hit it big from the show for a while. He really got put on the map from this show.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Next we have America's Funniest Videos.
Nice.
This show was huge, guys. Bob Saget, of course, was like the perfect host for this. And you know, what's funny is that technically it's still going on. It started in '89 and it hasn't stopped. It's gone through several different hosts, of course. But yeah,
the current host is Alfonso Ribeiro from Fresh Prince.
Who is delightful.
Yeah. I mean, I watched this on and off. I didn't watch it religiously, but I did find it entertaining. So yeah, this was the number 8 most popular show here on ABC. And the third most popular running thing was Monday Night Football, Kyle. Started in 1970. It still continues here. I found the Monday Night Football TV viewing guide from 1990, Kyle. Dan Deerdorf's 1990 forecast, Monday night game previews, 24 years of Super Bowl memories, win a trip to the silver anniversary Super Bowl, plus Black & Decker cordless drills.
Well, and if I'm remembering correctly, and at least in my opinion, maybe the most well-known booth for Monday Night Football, and I think maybe even the longest lasting one, because it was Deerdorf, Al Michaels, and Frank Gifford.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's get into the movies. We got some movies to talk about here, guys. Now, this is the listing. We do like to mention the celebrities that made their film debuts in 1990. And we've got some names here. We got Vin Diesel in Awakenings, Andy Dick in The Grifters, Hope Davis in Flatliners, and Russell Crowe in Blood Oath. I actually left Blood Oath off this year because I couldn't find it anywhere. It's a Australian film about Australian POWs. And what's interesting though is that I'm sorry, what's his name?
Russell Crowe?
That plays Sulu from Star Trek. George Takei. George Takei. He plays the evil like Japanese leader that has a bunch of these guys in prison, and that's what I got from reading about it, but I couldn't find this movie anywhere. And I, even when I was in Australia recently in the summertime, I tried finding it, couldn't find it anywhere. Tough to find. So, but yeah, one of these days maybe. But let's go ahead and get into the actual movies here, guys. We got some stuff to talk about. October 1990 movies here on Pop Culture and Movies on Time Warp 1990, guys. And the first one that we got here is Marked for Death. Steven Seagal. This is his second film I think we've talked about this year. Hard to Kill being the earlier one. Lacey, you and I have got the same DVD. I don't know if they've released a Blu-ray of this here, but this is the same DVD that I've had. And I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think about this. Made about almost 58 million in its run in the theater. A retired DEA agent is out to hunt down and take out a Jamaican drug posse that has targeted he and his family for murder. Directed by Dwight Little, stars Steven Seagal, Joanna Pacula, Basil Wallace, Keith David, and from the Highlander TV series, Elizabeth Grayson. Kyle, give us some trivia on Marked for Death.
This was named one of the most violent movies of 1990 by the National Coalition on TV Violence. The film got a $1 million added to the budget following the success of Hard to Kill, also starring Steven Seagal. Reason why Seagal gets hit several times during the final fight in this film, where he barely gets hit in all of his other films, is because unlike Warner Brothers, who produced and released Seagal's earlier films, 20th Century Fox didn't put up with his usual demands. Good for them. such as him not wanting his character to get hit at all during the film and to always have upper hand on others. So they ordered for the final scene to show him get hit while fighting Screwface.
Kyle, we listen to another podcast that we like, and they always talk about the Steven Seagal films, how he never gets hit and gets beat up in any of his films. He's the one that always does the ass kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on
Kyle
record.
Brandt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Love Kyle Brandt on the Rewatchables. This is my favorite Steven Seagal film. It used to be Above the Law, but this one I really like. Yes, it's very violent. I love the Mexican drug lords, or excuse me, the Jamaican drug lords. Two Screwfaces. Was it David Keith? David Keith is co-starring in this one as well.
Keith David.
Keith David. Okay, I'll watch a movie with Keith David and David Keith. Let's make that happen. We need to make that happen. But yeah, Keith David was in this. I love them working together in this. Lacey, what are your thoughts on Marked for Death?
Okay, so aside from the fact that there was legitimately no plot to this film, now it's a one line. I always say you have to have like an elevator pitch.
Yes.
Like, what was the elevator pitch for this movie? The elevator pitch to this movie was like, hey, we can throw some like Jamaican drug lords at him. And that's what the pitch was. There was no, and also, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm sure they were like comfortable for like doing all of his kicks and whatever. He didn't kick anybody in this movie. He did one kick in this movie. Also, the mom jeans were not doing him any favors. Like he was like legit wearing like 2002 mom jeans before their time.
That's
like
pretty accurate.
Even on the video, even on right now, when you're looking at the silhouette on the cover,
yeah,
it's just a weird. I don't know. It was a very strange. And I also kind of, maybe it's because I watched it now for the first time. I didn't see it back in the 90s.
Oh, really? This is your first time watching it? Okay.
It felt very like pointed at something that is a religion, because voodoo is a religion. It's not
voodoo.
A lot of, and a lot of times in the 80s and 90s, they would be like, oh, let's make the bad guys the voodoo people. Ooh, like they didn't take into account that like this is a religion for some people. And that's not okay.
Yeah, no.
Like for a while there, we had the bad guys were always Russian, and then the bad guys were always
voodoo was looked at a lot as not good juju to mess with in several movies, and
maybe it's because they kept making fun of people who knew voodoo, and they just juju'd at them.
Yeah, that's because if you heard about the voodoo curses from whoever, it was scary. Kyle, your thoughts on Marked for Death?
So, Marked for Death is part of what I call the Seagal foursome. It's
Seagal
Marked for Death.
foursome?
Yeah. Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Under Siege, and Hard to Kill.
See, Under Siege is more my call. Yeah.
But if you want the best of Seagal, it's those four movies.
Yeah.
And this is that very short time period where Steven Seagal actually probably wore the action movie star championship belt. He was the man. He could do no wrong. And then he went off the rails. And it kind of started with Marked for Death. This movie is out there with the voodoo thing. It's incredibly violent. And I think this movie is where he changed and went, no, I'm having full control over every movie I do, because of what he was not happy with the fact he got shown being basically beat up at points in this movie.
Which I liked.
Yeah. Well, no, I think most people do. But it was after this that his ego just started. And you see the real Steven Seagal who we see today. This is a crazy action film. It is what it is, but it's definitely at the apex of Steven Seagal at this point.
He thought he could fly. He was wrong.
Yeah. he was ignorant. He flew too close to the sun.
There's some this movie's so violent, and there's so much action in this movie. I don't know what it is about it, but I love this movie for him. Obviously there's better action films, but when it comes to Steven Seagal, I feel like this one is very Steven Seagal-y before he started doing like what is it? The one with Oil and Michael Caine, and
I don't talk about that one.
Yeah, this I feel like is top-notch Steven Seagal when it comes to doing what he does best and what you want from a Steven Seagal film. So yeah.
All I'm saying is that he was an attractive man, and those mom jeans. I'm just saying that his costumer maybe had an agenda.
Gotcha.
All right. I don't know what it
was. The next film we've got is a movie I had never seen before, and it's called Avalon, made over $15 million from the Academy Award-winning director of Rain Man and Good Morning Vietnam, a Barry Levinson film. Avalon, Three Generations of Family. It says, I'm reading this from the poster. They shared a dream called America in a place called Avalon. A Polish-Jewish family comes to the U.S. at the beginning of the 20th century. There, the family and their children try to make themselves a better future in a so-called promised land. Of course, written and directed by Barry Levinson, stars Aidan Quinn, Elizabeth Perkins, Leo Fuchs, Kevin Pollak, and a young Elijah Wood. Kyle, give us some trivia on Avalon.
The home in the suburbs where the Kay family moves from Avalon is writer, producer, and director Barry Levinson's actual childhood home in Forest Park, west of Baltimore City Center. The third of writer, producer, and director Barry Levinson's semi-autobiographical Baltimore trilogy set in the 1940s through the 60s. The first two were Diner in 1982 and Tin Men in 1987. The final one was Liberty Heights, which came out in 1999.
Lacey, Avalon, your thoughts?
I didn't watch anything going into this. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't watch any of the links. I just was like, you know what? I'll pick it up. It was like $5 on Amazon. I thought, okay. And I knew that it was on my Elijah Wood list, because I have a whole list of Elijah Wood movies that I haven't seen yet. And it was a good solid like family history film, but it was one of those I wanted a little bit more happiness, just a little. Like, I know that it was like showing the struggle of an immigrant family, like absolutely. And they had a little bit here and there, but it was just every time another conversation was had, it was just, it was just heart-wrenching after heart-wrenching. And then just, I don't know. It was much more dramatic than I am one to enjoy.
I echo everything that you just said. I also got mine off Amazon. I think for like $5. And
yeah,
I had nothing. I knew nothing about this movie ever. Yeah. I'm like, what is it about? Like, I may have seen the original trailer, but there was nothing about it that drew me to it. The only thing I was kind of confused was Avalon. Why is it called Avalon? And the closest Avalon to me is the name of the city that's on one of our Channel Islands that is a home to a bunch of golf carts, and it takes 9 years to try to get a car out to the island off of Catalina, and it's just like, I'm like, okay, what's Avalon? What is this? And there's some really good acting in it. Elijah Wood's in it, but yeah, it's kind of depressing. It's not very happy a lot. And you get the struggles of this family, this Jewish family, going through all these, all this turmoil, losing a business,
and the number of times they let small children set fire to things. What are you doing?
I know. Yeah.
What is happening? What is happening?
Kyle, have you seen Avalon?
I think I saw it a long time ago on HBO times and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a movie. It exists. It's not one of those movies that appeals to me in any way. Yeah. It's a good cast, but that's it.
Elijah Wood was absolutely adorable.
Yep.
Like, he always was. He's still absolutely
you saw the promise in his upcoming career for sure. So,
he was genuine. His relationship with Aidan Quinn was the highlight for me.
Yeah. Desperate Hours is the next film, guys, and this is one that kind of got off my radar. I saw this in the theater and then nothing. I don't remember it anywhere. Lacey, is that the Blu-ray you're holding up there?
Yep.
Wow, I got just the normal DVD. I didn't know there was a Blu-ray. That's pretty cool. Although the picture that I'm showing here for the poster looks like it's the version you have here. A little more about it here. Theatrical, made a little over $2.5 million. It's a thriller suspense starring Mickey Rourke, Anthony Hopkins, Mimi Rogers, and Kelly Lynch. Directed by Michael Cimino. An escaped con on the run from the law moves into a married couple's house and takes over their lives. Also starring Lindsay Krause, Elias Koteas, and David Morse. Kyle, give us some trivia on Desperate Hours.
It was a remake of the classic The Desperate Hours from 1955, was released 35 years later. This movie was the third English language version of the story, being released 23 years after the television movie version. This was not a good movie. This movie was nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actor. Mickey Rourke for this movie and A Wild Orchid, but he lost to Andrew Dice Clay for The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. And Kevin, I just want to say, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I specifically saw this movie for two reasons. My eternal crush on Mimi Rogers, and our boy Elias Koteas, Casey Jones himself, being in this film.
Yes, that's right. He just was in Terminator. Now you got the cool Blu-ray with the reversible cover there, Lacey. That's pretty cool there. Look at that.
Yes, there you go. This is another one of those MVD Rewind collection.
Nice.
It's kind of a boutique label. It's number 41. And they each come with little poster on the inside, a little four-fold poster. I will say,
your thoughts on the movie.
Oh, the thoughts on the movie. It's not a great film. It's not. I feel like for its time, because back then people had to kind of be spoon-fed stuff. I think that for its time, it was probably did okay. But I will say that if you're looking to purchase this, I went on because I didn't have it, and so I was looking at it, and it was the DVD was like $15 or $18, but the Blu-ray was like $9.
I got lucky. Someone on, was it Amazon or was it? I think it was on Amazon. There was one used copy for $7.99, and I picked it up. So that's the one I have here in my hand. So yeah, your thoughts on the movie itself?
It was okay. It was not a well-written movie by any means.
I have a little bit of trivia that I didn't include. Apparently, when the producers got their hands on it, they cut it horribly, and which left a lot of plot holes. Apparently,
yeah. So, I found it weird that because the whole idea is, I mean, this is the Ref, just not at Christmas time and not a comedy.
Yeah.
So basically, I didn't like the fact that it was a lot more violent than I expected it to be. Right. There was no reason to. I felt like the things that they did to try and escape were like the kid jumps out the window and tries to run away, and they bring him in and they catch him back again or whatever. The daughter is allowed to leave and come back several times. And is just told that, if you do something wrong, we're going to kill your family. The husband is allowed to leave and go to the bank to get money. It's so weird. There's so many times they could have.
Well, he was forced to go because they wanted money. That's a little different.
But that's the thing. He was let out of the house. Like there was any number of times that they could have said something to someone.
Well, they didn't because they were going to kill his family. I mean.
Yeah, but still, no, it was just bad.
Kyle, you remember this movie?
It's not a great film. Let's be honest with you, but it's very representative of the time. I know it came out in theaters, but I think a lot of people saw it more when it hit video. And again, you look at the cast of this; it's an interesting cast. But at this point, I mean, Mickey Rourke is kind of in this Wild Orchid erotic thriller typecast thing, and Anthony Hopkins is like he kind of is like he's in this, but it's like, why is Anthony Hopkins in this?
It's a Dino De Laurentiis movie too.
Yeah, well, that explains some things too. But and then again, like I said, my eternal crush on Mimi Rogers will have me watch anything Mimi's in it.
Kelly Lynch,
the daughter too. The daughter was like Tawny. What's Shawnee?
She was in a bunch of the Saw movies. That's where she
was kind of like a kind of a sex kitten.
She was on that show with Ted Danson too, Becker.
Yeah,
right. But she was like a pinup in a lot of teen magazines and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
Everybody loved her at the time. Mhm.
I on a rewatch, I mean, it definitely has its flaws, but I actually ended up enjoying it because of some of the performances in this. And the one that really kind of stood out for me was David Morse, because he's one of the he and Elias Koteas are part of this ringleader with and they're following, of course, the character that Mickey Rourke plays, because Mickey Rourke uses Kelly Lynch to break out of jail, and then they go on the run and they go to this house and terrorize the family and so on and so forth. But David Morse is the one that kind of stood out to me. He was unhinged, but he was really good at it. And nothing good happens to all these guys, and they all kind of get what they deserve. But it did remind me, though, of how much I did like Mickey Rourke and how good looking he used to be, man, before he went into boxing and changed his face and all that kind of stuff. And my favorite role, I think, of all of them, though, is definitely Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, with Don Johnson. But he has a certain charisma that I just like. And I feel like, I wonder if he would have taken a different direction in the 90s, what would have happened? That's just a big question that I have there. So
This also had kind of a Lenny and George feel to it.
yeah, definitely. All right, guys, the next film, next film is called Henry and June, made over $23 million in its original run. It's a drama from the director of The Unbearable Lightness of Being. And the poster here says, a true adventure, more erotic than any fantasy. Henry and June, 1931 Paris. Anais Nin meets Henry Miller and his wife June. Intrigued by them both, she begins expanding her sexual horizons with her husband Hugo, as well as with Henry and his wife. Directed by Philip Kaufman, starring Anais Nin, Philip Kaufman, or excuse me, the writers are Anais Nin, based on her, Philip Kaufman, and Rose Kaufman. Stars Fred Ward, Uma Thurman, Maria D. Madeir, Richard E. Grant, and Kevin Spacey. Kyle, the main actress that is playing the character of Anais, I might be mispronouncing the name here, so forgive me. Say it again.
Anais.
Thank you, Anais. Played by Maria D. Madeir. Do you remember who we see her from later on?
Remind me, because I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
Is it Pulp Fiction?
What's that?
Is she in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, she plays the
Bruce Willis's girlfriend.
as they say on the rewatchables, Butch's girlfriend, the weak link of the movie.
That's right.
Yeah, she that is her part in this. I had never actually sat through this film before. I was always kind of curious about it, Kyle, because of some trivia. I'd like you to read the trivia.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. For me, this is probably why this movie is more important than the actual movie itself. This movie is the cause of the creation of the NC-17 MPAA rating, which it earned in a place of an X. 2 to 3 second shots looking at an explicit illustrated postcard involving a Japanese woman and a squid less than 3 minutes into the opening credits of the film was the cause of the NC-17 rating. This film is apparently one of only 4 Academy Award nominated films released with an NC-17 rating in the USA. The others were Wild at Heart, Requiem for a Dream, and Blonde.
2022 Blonde, yes, with Ana de Armas. Lacey, your thoughts on Henry and June? We both got the same DVD, it looks like, right? Yeah, there you
looks
go.
like, yeah.
Yep, cool. Your thoughts on Henry and June? Have you seen it?
I had not seen it before. I have their books. I have several books, diaries of from Anais Nin and from
it's based on a true story of hers that she wrote, right?
This is they basically she wanted her story to be known, but because it involved both, infidelity and bisexuality, and at the time that was not something that was okay. Well, I mean, it was
banned in like over 30 countries or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
And that's actually one of the reasons I went on a kick probably about 15 years ago, and I started going through banned book lists and buying authors that were banned, just because I feel like those books need to be kept around, because there's a reason, Anyway, so I hadn't read. I've got a book that's it's a book just of the letters back and forth between the two that are the real letters, which is incredibly steamy for the time, but incredibly sweet now, kind of. I don't know, it's hard to describe because they're definitely of their time. But even at the time when they were doing some of their underground publications, there was a reason that they were underground publications. There were things that were happening. And the thing is that, this is Paris, so it's not, but it's happening at the same time as the United States was dealing with like bringing up the pre-Hollywood code, like the, the Catholic Church and all that kind of stuff. So there was some kind of on both sides of the Atlantic, they were having struggles with, what they were going to publish and what they weren't. The book itself, the movie itself, Uma Thurman was a deplorable character. The character was horrible. We hate her from the very beginning. Like, she's just mean. And it was really weird for me to see Fred Ward with that interesting shaved haircut because he was trying to be,
the bald top and the hair on the sides,
around the sides. Yeah. But I really wasn't expecting that much, interaction. We'll say. There was a lot more nudity than I was expecting. There was a lot more.
You didn't like it?
I didn't dislike it, but it's not something I'd probably watch again. It's just I think it's a historical piece, and I think it's important to have in my collection.
Gotcha. Kyle, have you seen Henry and June?
I have not, actually. I remember when this movie came out and everybody was making such a big deal about the situations with it. And it was one of those things where it's just like, people are going to see this because of the situation. They're not maybe going to see this for the movie. And I talked to some people I know who just said, yeah, no, it's drama. It's a lot of drama, as they would say.
I told Erin, my wife, I'm like, hey, I got to watch this Henry and June. Do you want to watch it? She's like, no. I was like, have fun with that. Good luck.
It's basically kind of a 1930s version, not, but it feels like a 1930s Dangerous Liaison kind of a thing.
Dangerous Liaison, so much better.
Yeah. Sure.
This movie was so boring. No amount of nudity could have saved this movie for me. I had to fast forward through this because I felt myself aging with a lot of the pointless plot. I felt like, I get it. You're going to write a book about something that happened to you, but I felt there was just way too much of these sexual situations that I didn't even find sexy. I didn't find anything in this movie sexy, entertaining, erotic, or something I'd like, I'm trying to think. If I saw it in 1990, I probably would have went like, it just felt uncomfortable like the whole time. Nothing about it. You give me some Wild Orchid, Mickey Rourke. Nat at least, had something going on there. It was just like.
So the men in this film weren't attractive enough for you?
It had nothing to do with the men. I'm looking at all the boobs and the chicks in this, and it's not doing it for me because the situation just isn't. And I don't know. I don't know. It kind of turned me off to this. It kind of turned me off to this time in Paris. I'm like,
yeah,
God, just give me something. Give me some more romance here. If you're just going to throw in boning everyone that you can see and writing about it and trying to be sexy and all the weird noises that we always hear from all other movies, I'm like, come on, Jesus. I had to fast forward to this movie, and I will not be keeping it. Kyle.
There was an interesting dichotomy between the sexual repression and just the, you've got a penis, I'll take one. It was very
just... Real quick, let's move on. Kyle, what you got?
I'm just was wanting to transition because you're talking about missing sexy, erotic, and entertaining. Let's get to our next film because I think that contains all three.
Nice lead up there, Kyle. The next film that we are talking about is The Hot Spot. Didn't do too well in the theaters. It made just over $1 million. A suspense thriller. Upon arriving in a small town, a drifter quickly gets into trouble with the local authorities and the local women after he robs the bank. Directed by Dennis Hopper. Yes, that Dennis Hopper. Stars Don Johnson, Virginia Madsen, and Jennifer Connelly. Kyle, give us some trivia on The Hot Spot.
Director Dennis Hopper once said of working with star Don Johnson on this film in a 1990 interview with The Guardian, he wasn't that bad. He has a lot of people with him. He came onto this film with 2 bodyguards, a cook, a trainer. Let's see, a helicopter pilot. He comes to and from the set in a helicopter. Very glamorous. Let's see, 2 drivers, a secretary. Yes, his own hair person, his own makeup person, his own wardrobe person. So when he walks to the set, he has 5 people with him and a partridge in a pear tree. And can I hold off on the next piece of trivia? Because I want to talk about this movie, Kevin.
Okay. Just real quick, I do want to give a shout out that William Sadler's in this film. He has a major role. You're holding up the Blu-ray there, Lacey. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I've just got the old DVD here, the classic one there. So yeah. So we can tell that at the time, this guy was hot off, still doing, I think, the final season of
Miami
Vice, and he's hoping to be his big star. And I think he releases the album too. Kyle, go.
Yeah. So I love this movie. This is a great film noir movie. It's got everything, and Dennis Hopper just brings that his energy into this movie, directing it. Don Johnson's great in this movie. Virginia Madsen is the perfect noir sex pot in this movie. She is fantastic in this movie. She is seductive. She is beautiful. She's working every angle. And of course, let's talk about the Jennifer Connelly of this, because this is a movie that did not do well in the theaters, really didn't even do that well on initial release. Then Jennifer Connelly blew up. And there's a scene in this movie, and this leads into our next piece of trivia. The part of Gloria Hopper was originally cast with actress Uma Thurman, but in the end, the role went to Jennifer Connelly. This contains Jennifer Connelly's first nude scene. So obviously Jennifer Connelly is blowing up, Rocketeer, career opportunities, other things that she's doing. She's absolutely gorgeous. This is one of those movies, Kevin, it's got the Fast Times moment in it. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
But the great thing, but again, as big as that is a reason why a lot of people have come back to revisit this, I truly believe this is actually a great noir film. Virginia Madsen, I actually think, is sexier than Jennifer Connelly.
I think she steals this movie as much as
Yeah.
I think Jennifer Connelly is gorgeous and it's great to see her nude and blah, blah, blah. But I think this is Virginia Madsen's movie.
I agree with you 100% on this. And I think actually this is a very interesting role for Don Johnson because he just plays it cool the whole time, even when he's getting in these crazy situations. And I will tell anybody, you want a good noir film, go watch The Hot Spot.
Lacey, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Okay. All right. So I feel like this is Don Johnson's, I don't know, answer to his wife at the time, Melanie Griffith's body double.
Yeah.
I had kind of a thing going there. I will say that I didn't see this back in the day. I saw it recently for the first time.
I did too.
This is, I mean, it's kind of the traditional, the virgin and the whore kind of situation. There's a lot of sexual extortion.
Yep.
Like Jennifer Connelly is a victim of it, and Virginia Madsen is a perpetrator of it. So I found it difficult to like anyone in this movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, not a lot of likable people in this one. Yeah,
which is not it's not unlikely. It's not unusual. Sorry, for a noir film, because a lot of noir films is just like, hey, this is life, and everybody sucks. Everybody's a jerk. A lot of times, not always, but right. I didn't. I think this would have been a great heist film. I liked what's his name? Charles Martin Smith as the kind of the bumbling other car salesman.
Right.
What's his name? The owner of the car lot,
right.
Jerry Harden, Melora Hardin's dad, right? He was great. I think everyone was great, but I mean, let's face it, Virginia Madsen's character she was sleeping with William Sadler's character. She was sleeping with Don Johnson's character. She literally killed her husband by I don't know, dry humping. I don't know what that was.
What?
It was weird.
Well, okay, so yes, it is weird, and it's definitely got a film noir feel to it for those reasons. And it's funny too, because Don Johnson's character you're like, okay, is he going to get away with this? Is he going to steal the money? And we find out that that's not what happens. And actually, I think I saw this back in the 90s, and then I just have not watched it until recently for the first time. So it's kind of like rewatching it for the first time. And I was actually surprised in how it ended, where Virginia Madsen blackmails and is able to hold Don Johnson basically hostage because of the information, and forces him to go off on the road trip together. And he's just like, all right. And I didn't expect that to happen.
He just extorts for boy toy, and that's it. And he's just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to be your love monkey from now on. Fine. I will say, as far as Dennis Hopper's concerned, beautiful cinematography. The direction was fantastic. I just didn't like the story.
Yeah.
So as far as Dennis Hopper's concerned, he was amazing. And I will say the commentary on this, had some interesting stuff. I'm just going to leave it at that, because some Dennis Hopper stories I can't talk about on this podcast. And there's an interview with Virginia Madsen. There's an interview with William Sadler. There's some good stuff on this disc if you want, if you're interested in getting further into it. And they do discuss Don Johnson and his helicopter thing. And it turned out to be something they talked about for the first week. But after that, they were like, thank God he's got that helicopter, because he couldn't go anywhere. Like they would stop him. They couldn't drive him anywhere. He would get mobbed because of Miami Vice.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Time. So, yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into the next film here. A World War II film. And boy, what about that cast? Memphis Belle made almost $28 million in its original theatrical run here. The poster says, the Academy Award-winning producer of Chariots of Fire brings you another magnificent saga. 10 American World War II heroes fly their most dangerous mission before returning home. Luckily, the lady they love is made of steel. Memphis Belle, brave young men who rode on the wings of victory. Takes place in 1943, where the crew of a B-17 based in the UK prepares for its 25th and final bombing mission over Germany before returning home to the US. And if you guys know your history, if you do 25 runs, basically, and you're alive, you get to go home. And so this was a big deal. Director Michael Caton Jones, writer is Monty Merrick. Stars, long list here: Matthew Modine, Eric Stoltz, Tate Donovan, D.B. Sweeney, Billy Zane, Sean Astin, taking a breath, Harry Connick Jr., Courtney Gaines, and John Lithgow, just to name a few. Kyle, give us some wonderful trivia on Memphis Belle.
The navigator of the real Memphis Belle was Charles Lighton. From Flint, Michigan, he retired as a teacher and counselor. He saved the Belle and other B-17s after identifying false German radio beacons designed to lure unwary B-17s into harm's way. Actor Matthew Modine's uncle, Wilder Modine, was actually a B-17 pilot during World War II. Matthew wore his uncle's uniform and bomber jacket in the film and later donated it to the Wounded Warrior Project. Sally B, one of two B-17s portraying the Belle in the film, is the last airworthy B-17 in the UK. She is based at RAF Duxford, Europe's premier aviation museum, and is part of the USAAF World War II Memorial Flight, making dozens of appearances across the UK and North Europe. She is maintained and run by volunteers and relies solely upon donations.
Lacey, you have the Blu-ray version of this, right?
Yes.
Very cool.
I did a combo.
Nice. Yeah, I just got the old DVD here. What's funny too is I had the DVD that had the cardboard flip case.
Yeah.
And then I found the version of just the regular DVD, which I prefer better, and I upgraded. But you did the full upgrade there, which is nice. So there you go.
Yeah.
Kyle, I want you to start on this one. I know this is a film that you like a lot, and boy, the cast. Go on that.
This is one of those movies that hits. And it's one of those movies you watch just for the cast, because especially 10, 15 years later, what they become, and you catch them when they're young and they're still the up and coming. But this is one of those movies. It's kind of like maybe like a Breakfast Club or something like that, where you just get a generation of actors out of it. And it's such a fun film. It's a great film. It's one of those films too that I think kind of got lost for a while. People just kind of forgot about it. And as a lot of these actors became bigger, they revisited it and they really enjoyed it. To me, it was always one of those movies. It was constantly on HBO or Cinemax or Showtime. That's where you watched it. A lot of people didn't necessarily see this in the theater or even on rental. but then the word of mouth, and you go back and revisit it because there's somebody in this cast you like, and then you realize, holy crap, who is in it? Look who is in this cast, and then you fall in love with the movie all over again.
Yeah, good point. Lacey, what are your thoughts on Memphis Belle?
One of my favorite actors, Reed Diamond, is in this. It's got. I mean, did we mention John Lithgow? Like
yes.
The whole scene where he is trying to get everybody to do the hip hip hooray and like prepare them for their 25th, like congratulating them on their 25th run, and everyone's refuses to say anything because it's bad luck to say something about the mission before you have. That's a rough scene, and it was so his genuine concern about like, what's going on? Why is nobody? It was just brilliant. I mean, he's amazing. Everyone in this cast is amazing. They didn't pick there's not a bad piece of cast. Every person, and it's hard when you have 13 main characters or something. 1, 2, 4, 12, there's like 11 people on the plane, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to service that many characters at one time. But the thing is, I didn't even watch this. I didn't re-up on this time because we had so many that I hadn't seen. So I haven't seen this in probably 5 years, but I can still tell you the key moment for Billy Zane. I can still tell you the key moment for Courtney Gaines, for Sean Astin, for Harry Conn. I can still tell you the key moment for every character in this movie because it was so well written and every character was serviced properly. That's hard to do as a writer. And I have a screenwriting degree. That's a hard thing to do.
Kyle.
It's amazing.
I just want to talk about 2 other people that you didn't put on the cast list. David Strathairn, who you know the name, you've seen the face. He's been in so many things. Such a phenomenal actor. But I also have to give a little Farscape love to this because Ben Browder is in this film as well.
So Kyle, you remember this, but I remember when I saw this movie, remember the episode of Amazing Stories about the World War II bomber?
Yep.
And it gets damaged in a run and they're coming back. But the problem is they've lost their landing gear and the guy that's stuck on the bottom tail gunner thing is jammed in there and he can't do it. And then there's if I remember correctly, there's someone who knows how to illustrate very well. And through a little bit of magic and good luck, he's able to draw the landing gear and it actually works and the plane lands safely. Am I remembering this right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that came out before Memphis Belle, right?
Yeah, I believe Amazing Stories was in the 80s, actually. So
you guys are remembering that story, right? Am I remembering it correctly?
I'm on it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm just thinking that would be a really cool double feature with this movie. It came to me and I'm like, now I kind of want to watch that episode again, but it was of the Amazing Stories. There's a few that I remember and that was one of them. So yeah, I love this movie. It's great. I'm a big World War II fan and I love the getting behind these B-52 bombers and B-17 bombers and stuff. And it's they were called a flying fortress for a reason. And watching the recent TV series that was based on these by what's his name?
Masters of the Air.
Masters of Air.
Yeah.
By what's his name?
You mean the actor?
Yes.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Yes.
Yeah. Elvis.
Yes. It was a great look into what it's like to be how horrific this was and how many planes that they lost and how many lives that they lost. So yeah. All right, guys, let's get in.
This is a double feature with Flyboys.
Okay. With what's his name? The World War I movie, right?
Yep.
With James Franco.
Yeah.
Right?
And a ton of other people, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Red Tails would be another good one to put.
Oh yeah.
Red Tails, yeah. All right, guys, let's get into the next film here. One of my favorites of this year, and definitely in my top 20, maybe I think. Mr. Destiny made a little over $15 million in an original theatrical run. It's a comedy. Lacey, you and I think, are holding up the same DVD here. I don't know if they ever released another Blu-ray or something. I don't think they did. So yeah. Mr. Destiny stars, let me tell you what it is. Unhappy Larry Burroughs sees what his life could have been like if he had made that winning home run as a teenager. Directed by James Orr, stars Jim Belushi, Linda Hamilton, Michael Caine, John Lovitz, and Rene Russo. Kyle, give us some trivia on Mr. Destiny.
The Vanderbilt home, Biltmore Estates in Asheville, North Carolina, was used as the filming location for the mansion that Larry finds himself living in with Cindy Jo and their children.
By the way, I've actually visited that location. You can tour it. It's very cool.
Beautiful.
Have you been?
Absolutely.
You've been there before, Lacey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
This is kind of sad, actually. This was the film that convinced Michael Caine to return to the UK after nearly 2 decades in the US. He realized he was no longer an A-list actor and was now being relegated to supporting actor in Hollywood, while his agent was still getting less lucrative but more prominent offers in the UK and Europe, where he was still a reasonably big name. Caine took this role as it was only a week's work but reasonably well paid, and used the money to start shipping his belongings back to Britain. He would still do the occasional US film over the next few years, but these tended to be as either supporting actors or as a little more than extended cameos.
I absolutely adore this film, and I think Michael Caine is great in this. Of course, he's not in it a lot, but this is a great one of those woulda, coulda, what if type movies.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, it's basically A Wonderful Life. What happens if he is what happened to his life if he had hit that home run ball instead of striking out and all the town seeing what would happen. And I just remember one of the things that stands out in this film is just how wonderful Linda Hamilton was in this, and how sweet that she was in this film. I crushed on her in this too, and how things kind of go wrong, and what happens when someone's trying to take over the business of the sweet, lovable owner, and the guy's trying to manipulate him, and the woulda, coulda, shoulda, and there's some really wonderful moments. This is one of the most, I'm not going to say underrated comedies, because everyone I know that's seen this really adores this film, but I remember getting some decent play like on broadcast television. But Kyle, did this get a lot of run on like HBO and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it did. It was actually very popular on video. This was a good year for Jim Belushi. He made a nice little double feature for himself with this and Taking Care of Business.
Taking Care of Business, which I recently saw for the first time like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And this is a very fun and sweet movie with a great cast. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not walking away from Renee Russo in this movie. She is just stunning in this movie. And but Belushi just this is where I think too, where he really established himself for a long time as that everyman that we could identify with.
Was he also breaking away from his brother's shadow as well? Like he was making
this was his breakout from his brother's shadow, where he became Jim Belushi, not I'm John Belushi's brother.
And would you say
I would have pushed it back to Taking Care of Business? I think that was his first.
This year. I'm just saying these two films.
See, that's the thing, though. Taking Care of Business for me was never on the radar because I've never heard about that movie until like 2 years ago. But Mr. Destiny was everywhere. It was always on the rental shelves. I never saw Taking Care of Business anywhere. But I feel like this is the movie that kind of maybe made him as he's a bankable movie star on a movie on his own. What do you think?
I think so. I really think the combination of these two really did it. And then his relationships that he had from his brother's friends and friends he had to really catapulted him. But like I said, I think the big thing was he kind of became for a while the guy that the average guy could relate with.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped him a lot.
Yeah. Lacey, your thoughts on Destiny, Mr. Destiny?
I enjoyed it. It was fun. I think the first time I saw Jim Belushi was either The Man with One Red Shoe, perhaps, where he was Carrie Fisher's husband.
Okay.
So that was kind of I think that kind of gave him some pull in Hollywood, just because, you got a lot of people in that movie, Tom Hanks, this movie was fun. It was not my favorite Altered Destiny movie, but it is it's a solid movie. It's a good one for his CV, his oeuvre. I think this is probably in his top 5 for his films. It would not be, I think it'd probably be number 5 of his top 5 for me.
What is number 1 out of curiosity?
The Man with One Red Shoe is the thing with the gorilla. It's hilarious. He's so funny in this movie. That's probably my favorite. About Last Night was really great too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good
So
one.
there's kind of some, yeah.
Yeah, but he was like he played like the best friend buddy. He wasn't he wasn't like the star of it, but he was really good in that one. Though that's a good call. I think this is my favorite of his. I've seen a lot of his. I actually liked him in, of course, Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought he was good in that as well. But yeah, this to me is the defining Jim Belushi movie for me, and it's just such a sweet film too. Everyone is so. Courtney Cox is like the alternate version stilted lover. It's just there's just so many good things about this film. It's really, really good. Kyle, did you have any final thoughts on Mr. Destiny?
Just a fun movie. Again, Jim Belushi, this is the ultimate Jim Belushi double feature with this and Taking Care of Business. Get him out in the same year. Great year for him, maybe apex bound for Jim Belushi, honestly.
All right, let's get to the next one here, guys. Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. Made almost $4 million in its original run here. And it's about a small town that prepares for the homecoming of superstar Roxy Carmichael, as does a young outsider who believes Roxy is her mother. Director Jim Abrams, writer Karen Lee Hopkins, stars Winona Ryder, Jeff Daniels, Lila Robbins, and Carla Gugino. Kyle, give us some trivia on Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael.
Unfortunately, the scene where other kids throw food at Dinky was quite familiar to actress Winona Ryder. Ryder had described being called a weirdo and having Cheetos thrown at her by some girls in 8th grade because she would wear a crew cut and listen to Sex Pistols. Winona Ryder's method to get into character included collecting items from flea markets, used clothing, and used bookstores. After working on the project for 2 years, she ended up with cratefuls of Dinky-inspired items such as old National Geographic magazines, handbags, and circus posters, even though most were never used in the film.
So Lacey and I were holding up, looks like identical copies of our Blu-rays with a slipcase by VVE.
Yep.
It's funny. It's via Vision. I actually found this because I found this in Australia when I was there last summer.
Right on.
I found it at JB, which is their version of Best Buy when Best Buy was good. They still have videos and stuff. And I have never seen this film before, guys. Never seen it before. I watched it for the first time. But I want to get you guys' thoughts first. Lacey, start with you.
I enjoyed it. I'd seen it a million years ago. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I remember really enjoying it. The director is one of the Abrams from like Airplane, Top Secret, I want to say the kid, Gerald, is played by Thomas Wilson Birch, who has been in Thomas Wilson Birch, the boy who played Gerald. He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was one of the older kids, and he was in like Silverado and Pearl Harbor. Like he's been in a ton of little things. And I remember I watched it and I was like, oh, look, hey, I know him. Because I just forgotten he was in this, and it's just such a sweet story for her character. It's kind of a bittersweet story for almost everybody else. Jeff Daniels plays the jilted, I guess love interest who she had a baby and moved out of town, and all this kind of stuff. I enjoyed the movie. This is probably one of the few movies that you can say that the lead character, the name of the titular character, does not appear in the film.
Yeah, which I was kind of
not
disappointed, but I was just like, okay, I see what they did.
Because you wanted to know, but this was not in the commentary on this, by the way. Have you listened to the commentary?
No.
They did a really cool, a lot of interesting interviews and all this kind of stuff. Just talking about how the director was very specific that he wanted to discuss how fame affects small town life and how the escape from the small town is something that you either have it or you don't. Like some people just want to stay in that small town because there's,
they definitely get into that. It kind of reminds me of like, maybe a football town in Texas and that star quarterbacks coming back. Everyone's going, Kyle, have you seen this movie?
I actually have not. I was a bad time warper and did not get a chance to see this one before we recorded the podcast. It's got a lot of people I like in it. I love Carla Gugino. Winona's always great. Jeff Daniels. it does feel like it's a kind of a bit of a cookie cut from what you guys are describing, a little bit of that cookie cutter of the celebrity going home and how they play up that story. But with this cast and who's in it, I this is something I'm gonna make sure I check out because I think it's got a little bit of a different take than most of those kind of films do.
I just, before we move on, I just want to mention the person that stood out for me. I mean, Jeff Daniels and Winona Ryder are great in this, especially when she's trying to figure out like, is he my dad or blah blah blah. But it's Lila Robbins. I remember I've never known her name before, but I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. But I love the fact that she kind of like is looking after Winona's character, and she kind of becomes a surrogate mother figure, but not in like a pushy mother type way, and she's supportive of her. And the funny scene where like they're like dressing up and they're like both talking about their boobs was kind of funny. But yeah, it's a sweet film, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't see it because I would Winona Ryder is in her prime during this time. She's just killing it and everything she's doing it and everything she's doing. I thought she was great in this. So yeah,
she played Steve Martin's wife in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes. Yeah. All right, here's another film I actually never saw, guys, and that is Reversal of Fortune, made over $15 million in its original run, and it is based on a true story here. And this is what the poster says, she inherited a fortune. He married it. She trusted him. He was found guilty once, but a team of law students and the professor are about to give him a second chance. Alan Dershowitz, a brilliant professor of law, is hired by a wealthy socialite, Klaus von Bülow, to attempt to overturn his two convictions for attempted murder of his extremely wealthy wife. Based on the true story, the film concentrates not on the trial like other legal thrillers, but on the preparatory work that Dershowitz and his students put in as they attempt to disprove the prosecution's case and achieve the reversal of fortune of the title. Directed by Barbette Schroeder, stars Jeremy Irons, Glenn Close, Ron Silver, and Annabella Sciorra. Kyle, give us some trivia on Reversal of Fortune.
So Jeremy Irons met the real Klaus von Bülow 3 years after the release of the film. Irons commented, "He didn't tell me anything I didn't already know." Irons recalled that von Bülow asked him if he was aware that the real Alan Dershowitz was at the time representing Leona Helmsley and Mike Tyson. Irons replied that he was aware of that, to which Bülow quipped, "I don't suppose you've been asked to play either of them, have you?" And this is Jeremy Irons' Oscar-winning performance in his only, or actually, I'm sorry, Jeremy Irons' Oscar-winning performance in this film is his only Academy Award nomination as of 2021 when we pulled for these notes. I just want to say two things real quick before I let you guys talk about the film. The thing about Alan Dershowitz is that, yes, he was famous for Leona Helmsley and Mike Tyson. He became much more famous about 4 years later, thanks to a little guy named O.J. Simpson.
Yes, that's how I know him. And I have the DVD, but you got the Blu-ray there, Lacey. So yeah.
One other quick thing, Kevin. This is at the point where if you're going to talk drama, if Jeremy Irons' name is in it, you know you're watching a drama.
This is true. Yes. Lacey, so you got the cool Blu-ray there. That's cool. Mine's just that the cardboard flip case DVD. I wanted to buy it cheap. I wasn't sure about whether or not I wanted to go to, but you got the Blu-ray there, right? So yeah.
Yeah. This is the Warner Brothers Archive Collection Blu-ray. It was not terribly expensive. I want to say it was like $13 maybe. Nice. Again, look, I will stretch a dime. I will put something in my cart and wait until it goes down, which it did. So I was lucky.
I'm just going to say real quick, I had never seen this film before. I didn't know what it was about. I was actually surprised by Ron Silver's performance, and I actually would have given him the Oscar, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought he was great as Dershowitz, but I like the idea. The movie itself was kind of for me. I know it's based on a true story, but the thing that I liked about it was him and his college students and getting them to help him. And, one of them not wanting to do it at first, but then stays on. I thought that was kind of cool that he actually lets these collegiate minds who want to get into the world of, the theater of law help him along with this. I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, I thought it was okay. Lacey, your thoughts on Reversal of Fortune?
Did you recognize who the person was who didn't want to do it, who was talked back into it?
Oh, I forgot her name, but yeah, I did
Felicity
recognize.
Huffman.
Yeah, Felicity Huffman. That's
Yeah.
right. One of the Desperate Housewives, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
More recently with some of her own legal issues with trying to bribe her daughter into college.
That's right.
Yeah, so crazy stuff.
That's a good point. I forgot about that. Yes.
Here's the thing with this movie. I had not seen it. I do remember the case. Like I remember hearing about the case. For some reason, I don't know why, because I would have been very young because it happened probably 15 years before the movie came out. So who knows? But I don't know. For some reason, I remembered the name Count von or something. I don't know. I had never seen this because the photo on the front of it looks very
it looks like an erotic thriller. That's what it looks
like a period piece to me, because I think I saw this when I was at Blockbuster, working at Blockbuster, and we had I think Dangerous Liaison had come out, and we were doing like a Glenn Close special, and it was like for some reason every poster, every cover was the same. They always feature her doing half, and then there's the half that's blacked out. Anyway,
what do you think of the movie though?
The movie, I did not like the way that they portrayed Glenn Close's character. The issue with the film is that this woman has gone into a coma several times and is in a persistent vegetative state at the beginning of the film. The film opens with a visual of Glenn Close in the hospital, stuck to, in a coma. And then it gives her an inner monologue. It gives her, she's the narrator. Well, the thing is that no one knows what her internal monologue was. So it had to be completely fabricated. And it was very strange because the interesting thing about the commentary was that at the end, the director was like, I had done all this research, or the writer was, I had done all this research and I didn't know, because on a daily basis, I'd be doing research going, oh, he did it. And then the next day I was like, no, oh, yeah, I don't think he did it. So he's back and forth. And so they asked him, how are you going to end the movie? Did he do it or didn't he? And they were like, he was like, I don't know. So what I did was I took the conversation at the very end between Dershowitz and his wife, or his student, and said, no, this is how it was probably done. And she was like, no, I think he did this. And so that ended it, which was an interesting way to look at it, but it was so very slow. I fell asleep twice trying to watch this movie. It took me 3 days.
Kyle, what are your thoughts on Reversal of Fortune?
As Lacey said, basically a cure for insomnia. There's some great performances in it, but this is a one and done.
Yeah.
This is a
I'm not returning to this movie.
Yeah.
It does have the famous line that Jeremy Irons says when Dershowitz says, you're a very strange man. And he says, you have no idea. And apparently the writers of The Lion King contacted him and asked if it was okay for them to put that in The Lion King as well, because they love that line so much. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the next film, which I had never seen before, guys. Cadence came out October 19th, just made over $2 million in a theatrical run. Starring Charlie Sheen, a young, fiercely independent Army private is thrust into a work camp stockade, where he discovers the value of friendship and loyalty in the face of dangerous enemy from a dynamic group of Black prisoners. Directed by his father, Martin Sheen, stars Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, Jay Brazeau, and Lawrence Fishburne. Kyle, give us some trivia on Cadence.
Gary Busey was cast as McKinney. However, 9 days into the production, Busey's erratic behavior on set caused Martin Sheen to fire him and step into the role himself. Gary Busey erratic? Who would have thunk it?
What?
And for you Stargate fans out there, a little pre-Stargate action for Christopher Judge and Don S. Davis, both who starred in Stargate. They played Teal'c and General George S. Hammond, respectively. Guys, I just want to go on the record real quick. I love this movie. I think this is actually one of Charlie Sheen's most underrated roles. I think he's great in it. I think the entire cast is great in it. Fishburne's great in it. And that is the sound of the men working on the chain.
Well played, Kyle. Yes. By the way, I got a VHS copy because I picked it up last year knowing we were going to do 1990, but it's actually streaming free on Tubi. And I actually ended up watching it on Tubi, but I did save that. You got the DVD there, Lacey. Lacey, your thoughts on Cadence?
I don't normally like films that deal with a lot of race stuff. I don't like watching people get in trouble or beaten or whatever for something they can't change. So I don't watch a lot of war. I don't watch a lot of Holocaust or racism, slavery. I just don't. This was, it was I liked the story. I liked the message. I don't think I can watch it again because there was some pretty like strong stuff in it. I will say before we go bagging on Gary Busey, he had a bad motorcycle accident, had a traumatic brain injury. And after that is when he started kind of having some problems. So with the traumatic brain injury, I give him a lot of leeway. So just throwing that out there.
I'm with you on the feelings of this film. It was a great Charlie performance. There's some great moments in this. And Charlie Sheen's father, Martin, who directed this, didn't play a horrible person, by the way. And it would have been probably a completely different movie with Busey doing it. But I agree with Kyle, a really good Charlie performance, but I will not be reviewing this.
And Fish was fantastic. Like, he was awesome.
Lawrence is great.
Yeah.
All right. One of my favorites of this, guys, is Quigley Down Under. Made just over 21 million in its original theatrical run. Lacey and I, looks like we got the same DVD right there. There you go. I'd love to get a Blu-ray of this one. I don't know if it exists. I did really search for it.
I looked. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, love to get a special edition.
Yeah, that's not true. I'm so sorry. It was a Kino Lorber and it was out of print.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's about a sharpshooter, Matt Quigley, who's hired from America by an Australian rancher so he can shoot Aborigines at a distance. Quigley takes exception to this and he leaves. The rancher tries to kill him for refusing, and Quigley escapes into the brush with a woman he rescued from some of the rancher's men and are helped by Aborigines. Quigley returns the help before going on to destroy all of his enemies. Directed by Simon Windsor, stars Tom Selleck, Laura San Giacomo, Alan Rickman, and Ben Mendelsohn. Kyle, give us some trivia on Quigley Down Under.
So the film was to have been Steve McQueen's next film after The Hunter in 1980, but he fell ill shortly after making that, so the project was scrapped. It was revived several times throughout the 1980s with various stars in mind for the lead. Harrison Ford was offered the lead role, but turned it down because he considered it too visibly similar to Indiana Jones. Very interesting. The lead was first offered to Tom Selleck in 1985. He had to turn it down because of his commitment to Magnum P.I. When the series concluded in 1988, he quickly asked if the role was still available and accepted it. The producers spent another year gathering a reasonable budget.
Now, Kyle, I just want to mention real quick, this little bit of trivia is fascinating to me. And I remember when Adam, who does our Lethal Mullet action podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network, he did Quigley Down Under, and I was a guest on him. And this is one of the topics we talked about.
Yeah. And with speaking of the mullet, because we know he loves his weapons too, Sharp's rifles are now so inseparably related to this film that they are commonly nicknamed Quigley guns. Sales for such weapons increased by over 1,000% following the film's release, especially in the United States and Australia, and continued through 2013. 3 Sharp rifles were built for the film, one for shooting, one as a club in the fight scenes, and a backup weapon in case one was damaged. Tom Selleck requested to keep the 3 rifles built for the film. He had 2 of them reconditioned to remove scratches and straighten and tighten some of the moving parts. Years later, he signed and auctioned 2 of them as part of a fundraiser for the NRA, of which he is a national board member. Selleck donated the 3rd rifle with its fringed leather scabbard and belt knife to Bronwell's Family Museum. I just want to say, Kevin, I have a hot take on this. As famous as Tom Selleck is for Magnum P.I., Blue Bloods, and his TV roles, I think Quigley Down Under, and it's not even close, is Tom Selleck's best movie that went to theaters. And
absolutely 100% agree. I adore this movie. And it was one of the films I remember after, seeing Crocodile Dundee that made me want to go to Australia for reasons. And also, too, I think that having Alan Rickman be the villain again in a little bit different way was a great role to see. And Laura San Giacomo, she was on the rise here. Just so fun in this film as well. And young Ben Mendelsohn, it was great to see him in this one as well. Absolutely great Western. And it was really neat to see someone who was very good at being a sharpshooter, especially during this time and era when it wasn't well known, but that he was so well known that they got him all to come all the way to Australia. And then, of course, he realized what he was doing. He was like, nope, not having it. Lacey, your thoughts on Quigley Down Under?
This for me, when I don't think I first saw this when it came out. I saw it much later. And when I watched it, I was like, this is like three of my favorite movies kind of piled into one. I mean, it had very, very, it had Dances with Wolves vibes. It had the Man from Snowy River vibe. It had Last of the Mohican vibes. Like it's such a great flick. I really enjoyed it. Love Tom Selleck. I will say, stick with the mustache, because this part kind of bugged me. Like the little whatever, I don't know what that's called. I know that there's a name for all the facial hair. But the little patch, the little soul patch or whatever on the bottom.
Yeah.
I really had struggles with seeing him because he was so great with the mustache with Magnum.
It kind of reminded me what Michael Biehn was doing in Tombstone.
Yeah,
he had a similar thing going on. It was a popular look, one of the popular facial hair looks during that time. But yeah, wonderful film.
I'm going to double down on the favorite thing. I love this movie as a leading role. I will say that in my opinion, his best secondary role is In and Out, when he plays the reporter.
Ah, yes.
With the mustache.
And of course, Monica's on and off boyfriend in Friends as well. So there you go.
Of course.
All right. Here's a film I don't think I ever saw, and I just watched this, I'm going to say for the first time, to be honest with you guys, and this is White Palace. We both, looks like we got the similar DVD cover there, both Lacey and I. And this movie, in its original theatrical run, made close to $18 million, about 17 and a half, starring, of course, Susan Sarandon and James Spader. The poster says, the story of a younger man and an older woman. Max Barron, played by James Spader, is a 27-year-old high-flying advertising executive still recovering from the death of his wife. One night, he is in a bar where he meets Nora Baker, played by Susan Sarandon, a 43-year-old waitress with a fixation on Marilyn Monroe. The couple gradually fall in love through age and social differences, meaning that the path of true love is strewn with problems. Directed by Louis Mendoki, stars Susan Sarandon, James Spader, Jason Alexander, Kathy Bates. Kyle, give us some trivia on White Palace.
Yeah, so Robert Downey Jr. was considered for the role of Max Barron and even screen tested with Susan Sarandon. He might have had some other things happening around this time that might have not helped him get this role. Let's just be honest here. Originally, White Palace was to have been White Castle, and in the novel, specific reference is made to a real White Castle location at the intersection of South Grand Boulevard and Gravios Avenue in South St. Louis, Missouri. But the White Castle chain wouldn't give permission for their trademark name to be used in either the novel or the movie, or allow the use of any of their restaurants for film locations. The diner used for the film's White Palace restaurant tried to change its name to White Palace after the film was released, but the studio refused permission, so it was renamed White Knight by the owners instead. It still exists and is open for business.
So why did they get to do it for, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle? Why did they get to do that? I just got curious about that.
Different owners, man. That's 25 years later.
And by the way, real quick, so White Palace is basically a burger joint that does sell those little tiny hamburgers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's like a White Castle. And then the trivia is like, oh, that makes sense. By the way, real quick, I had never seen this film before, and I got it. And I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, what'd you think of White Palace? She's like, oh, that's good. You want to watch it? And I'm like, okay. Lacey, your thoughts on White Palace?
Okay. I had never seen this before either. I love James Spader. I could listen to him read a phone book. Like for real, I would listen to him read a phone book. I will say this. I learned something from this movie. I'm watching it halfway through and I see the diner. Okay, so the beginning, the diner they go into, and he goes into it a couple times during the film. And I was like, wow, that's so familiar. That's weird. And about halfway through it, you see him walking past the Fox Theater. And I was like, what? Is this filmed in Atlanta? What? So I stopped, I checked my time and I scrolled to the end to see, and I go online, I'm looking to see if this was filmed in Atlanta. Did you know that there's 17 cities that have the Fox Theaters and have the same marquee, but they are not, none of them are related. Well, 2 of them are related, but not to the one in Atlanta.
I did not know there was that many. I knew there were some other Fox Theaters, but I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Who knew? So, and because I thought, as I was looking, I was like, oh my gosh, if that's the case, then that's the Majestic. Because I thought the Majestic is where,
right. Right.
It looks the inside, the interior. It was exactly like somebody copied the Majestic when they created this place, or the Majestic copied them. I don't know. The movie was good. It was more dramatic than I expected. A lot more heat than I expected. I loved the mother, Susan Sarandon's mother in this. I'm losing her name. I've lost her name. Anyway,
I don't remember. I thought it was her sister. Was her sister or her mom? That was her sister.
Sorry, sister. Yes, your older sister. Yeah. She was great. I think
Jason Alexander still has his wig going on.
Yeah,
he was earlier in the year. He was
action. Yeah,
earlier in the year. He's in Pretty Woman, and now he's doing this. So he plays a friend. Kyle, have you seen this film?
I have seen this film. It actually has been a while. I didn't get a chance to watch this to revisit it for the show. But what I remember about this film, Susan Sarandon this is top of Susan Sarandon's game.
She does Thelma and Louise right after this. She did, and then just prior, she did Witches of Eastwick. So she's on a roll. And
she's on a roll in more ways than one, because any actor who can't have chemistry with Susan Sarandon at this point isn't an actor, because she's pulling performances and chemistry out of people at this point. She might have, in my opinion, at kind of around this run, she was just at the top of her game as an actress. She was incredibly beautiful. She was incredibly sexy. You add in James Spader in this, and Spader with some of his stranger roles too, with Sex, Lies, and Videotape and some of those things. This is such an interesting combination of two actors together. And it works in a way that is kind of a little mind warping in some aspects, because it really maybe shouldn't work that well, and it does. It's a drama film, but the chemistry between these two works off the charts.
Susan Sarandon was sexy. She was great. James Spader was amazing in this. My wife pointed this out. He's such a good actor, and there's just so many moments, the way that he looks at the camera, or the way that he makes these, gestures and stuff like that. And what I liked about it too is I didn't really expect the ending to go the way that it did.
Right.
And the fact that he is in this materialistic world with this family, and there's a lot of judging going on with his family as well. And he's tired of that. And he drops everything as she runs away to New York and then chases her and ends up with her. And it was a very, very sweet moment at the end there. And the fact that they're both coming off, he loses his wife, she loses her son, and they find sorrow in that, and there's some challenges with that, and they come together. And I thought it was great. It was really good. It surprised me how good it was. So, yeah. All right, next, guys. This is a film I'd never heard of, called Sibling Rivalry, and I was kind of surprised. It made money in the theater. Made almost $18 million. It's listed as a black comedy, and it's Kirstie Alley as the lead role here, and the she's holding up a sheet like she's in bed, and it says, "She did it." And boy, is she sorry. A frustrated woman's life gets even more frustrating when she gets into an affair with a man who suffers a fatal heart attack after their fling. Directed by Carl Reiner, stars Kirstie Alley, Bill Pullman, Carrie Fisher, Jamie Gertz, Scott Bakula, and Sam Elliott. I was able to find a DVD copy of it right here. Lacey, what you found? Of course, you got the Blu-ray. There you go. You always find the Blu-ray. I love it. It's great. I love that.
This is the olive release.
Okay.
So they're not around anymore, but this is olive release 1185.
Kyle, you got a couple bits of trivia on this one.
Yeah, just real quick. This was a surprising hit in Italy, where it was released under the slightly more intriguing title of Refleeing with a Corpse. And according to Variety, this was Kirstie Alley's first solo starring role.
So the trailer for this and the DVD lead you to believe that it's a arousing, engrossing, amusing black comedy. And basically what happens is Kirstie Alley is married to was it Scott Bakula, and it's kind of becoming a loveless marriage. She's kind of becoming the trophy wife. She gets an idea and decides to have an affair with Sam Elliott's character that she meets at the grocery store. And problem is he dies during sex or the morning after, basically, and she's not sure what to do. You throw in Bill Pullman, who's trying to sell blinds to the hotel, and they both come across, and she's trying to figure out what to do with the body. And, Bill Pullman, accidentally thinks that he murders him when something falls on him, blah, blah, blah. Turns out that, of course, Sam Elliott is the brother of Scott Bakula that she's never met before. And then Carrie Fisher and her husband are part of this, judgmental couple and blah, blah, blah. Wasn't quite as funny as I thought it was going to be. It was kind of awkward and weird for me. It had Jamie Gertz, and then Jamie Gertz and Ed O'Neill, who's a cop trying to, hopefully become chief of police. So, and then of course, Bill Pullman is his brother. So all these people are like interconnected. So yeah, it was okay, but it was, I don't know. It's not utterly hilarious as American Movie Classics claims on the front of the DVD, but I don't know. Lacey, what do you think?
I was cracking up, man. I really was. Like the whole, like Bill Pullman and Kirstie Alley's chemistry, trying to figure out because they have their fling, and then she wakes up and realizes that he's dead, and she freaks out and just leaves. But not until after, because they meet in a grocery store, and she helps him figure out what to write on a condolence, on a card saying he's not going to make it to dinner, right?
Which is the dinner that she was going to be cooking.
She's supposed to be hosting, and she doesn't know this the guy, right? And the other thing is that this is the brother who is like the perfect brother. He's the brother that all the siblings. So you got Carrie Fisher, you've got the other. So it's Carrie Fisher is the sibling, and Scott Bakula is a sibling, and then mustache Sam Elliott. And so Sam Elliott is like the perfect child. He did all the doctoring, and he went on Doctors Without Borders, and he's rescuing children in all over the world and all this kind of stuff. And he's like a pediatric something. Anyway, he's coming in town to accept an award, and he has graciously decided to stop in and visit the family after like 8 or 10 years or whatever. And so she doesn't have any idea. So she helps him in the grocery store, say something on some cards.
They get together. They
do their thing, whatever. They go. She runs home, freaks out, runs home. And then the flower delivery comes to the door, and she's like, oh my God. And it's just, but she has to, and it's just hilarious. I cracked up. I think Bill Pullman accidentally figuring out, not realizing that the guy was dead, and thinking that, and then accidentally dropping blinds on him and thinking he did. So funny. Jamie Gertz was great. Ed O'Neill, standout. It never occurred to me. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. It was a solid that was a solid dramatic role for him. He was the straight man, and it was well done. And he had chemistry with Jamie Gertz.
Yeah, which surprised me.
Yeah.
Kyle, did you see this movie?
So the funny thing about this movie is I remember seeing this movie. This is one of those movies where you kind of catch it just a couple minutes in after the credits have run on HBO or something like that. And you start recognizing the faces in it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to stick with this. Once I saw the description for this movie on here, it's like, oh, I have seen this. So I thought it was an enjoyable film. It's a great cast. It's got just enough silliness into it. It is a little bit of a dark comedy in certain aspects. The big thing, and I'm going to just bring up this question to you guys real quick. Kirstie Alley was huge. Don't get me wrong. But to me, it always felt like she had another level that she never quite achieved, that she should have been like megastar, and she just never hit it. And it's because I think she did a lot of movies like this where it was solid, but she never had that one like movie that just blew up.
Yeah. What's interesting too is Scott Bakula does not play someone you like until the very end when they reconcile and they both kind of, reconnect after they break up and stuff like that. But I had an epiphany though after I finished watching this, going, you know what? I don't think this is a good movie. I think this actually would be a better play to see it at a theater, because I think the way these kind of shenanigans go and what happens and how they all seem to be interconnected with these characters and not everyone knows each other, I think this would made a great theater play instead.
I think this is a good farce. Like this is definitely, like it was one step away from the Scooby-Doo going in and out of the doors in the hallway. Yeah.
All right, we got one more for you guys. I know it's been long, but we got one more, and this is one of my favorites, most underrated teen comedies, and I absolutely adore this film. And Lacey, looks like you and I finally have the same DVD there, because I don't think they ever did a Blu-ray of this one here.
Mm-mm.
And this is Book of Love. Of course, came out in 1990. Did not do well in the theaters. Made just over $1 million, and it's about Jack Twiller. Michael McKean, who plays the older version of this character, gets greetings from a long-gone high school girlfriend that makes him open his school's yearbook, his Book of Love. He remembers the old times way back in the 1950s when he was his last year in high school, where Chris Young, who plays the younger version of him, and his family just moved to town. He hung out with his geeky Paul Kane, who tried to get the attention of Lily, played by Josie Bissett, who unfortunately was together with the bully, Angelo, played by Beau Dremmond. He then finds himself attracted to Angelo's feisty sister, Gina, played by Tricia Lee Fisher. Directed by Robert Shea, stars Chris Young, Keith Coogan, Eric Egan, Josie Bissett, Tricia Lee Fisher, Danny Nucci, John Cameron Mitchell, and of course, Michael McKean. Kyle, give us some trivia on Book of Love.
Rita Kempley from the Washington Post wrote, Book of Love is a mild-mannered foray into the 50s modest coming-of-age comedy that is as thickly nostalgic as a yearbook. Though not strictly a trip back in time, it is kind of a Peggy Sue got married for the fellows, a chance to hum some old music and recall one's raging hormones. This film was originally PG-13, and some subsequent DVD releases have been the R-rated director's cut for sexual content and language.
Guys, I'm trying to remember when I first saw this. I did not see this movie in the theater. Let me put the poster up there. Lacey, you've got the DVD there, just like I do. There you go. But whenever I first saw it, I think it was on VHS. Absolutely loved it. And I love the story. I love all of the trials and tribulations of going through the high school, dealing with the bullies. You think he's attracted to one of the main girls, but it's really the other girl that he ends up falling for. I love the dance scenes. My favorite scene is when they fish the car out of the water because he needs a car, for everything, and all these other shenanigans that go on. But there's just some wonderful, especially when he's going to the party and he's a nice kid. Let's play some canasta, and then like the raging party starts, and then he shoots what he thinks is a cat gun, but there's a real bullet in it, and he becomes his legend at the party. All these moments that you just root for this kid played with Chris Young. And I think this might be Chris Young's best film. I mean, he's kind of always been in these other things, but I absolutely adore this movie. Absolutely love it. Lacey, what are your thoughts on Book of Love?
This is a fun movie. It is not a movie that people today are gonna like. Anyone post Me Too is not gonna like this movie.
True.
I don't remember seeing it in the theaters. I remember seeing it, I think, later on. I adore Keith Coogan. I think after I saw Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, I went back and looked for it. I think that's kind of how it happened from like watching that. It's got some fun stuff in it. Danny Nucci, I think that's his first movie, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a young thing for him. It did remind me a lot of Can't Buy Me Love, oddly. There's a bunch of kind of it wasn't really the teaching someone how to be cool thing or whatever. It was just, it kind of had it was kind of young diner meets, I don't know. It was well put together for the time. I think that I did like the fact that it had the writing afterwards. It told you where everybody was and all that kind of stuff. I love Michael McKean. He's awesome. He was in like 40 seconds of it. Overall, it was a fun, watchable movie. It's something that I could probably see watching again if I was doing like a marathon of kind of classic. I think that the cover says that it's reminiscent of Porky's, Ridgemont High, and American Pie. I would add Can't Buy Me Love into that group, and a couple of other movies. I can see this as being a good marathon kind of thing in the middle of that group. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also has classic rock and roll soundtracks featuring Benny King, Bo Diddley, and Little Richard. Kyle, your thoughts on Book of Love?
It's a fun movie. Just kind of lost in the shuffle because there were so many of these types of movies around this time. I always thought Chris Young should have been a little bit bigger than what he was. I remembered him when he did Max Headroom, Kevin.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do want to say this too. Josie Bissett is one of the most underrated, naturally beautiful actresses of this time. She went on to do Melrose Place.
Yep.
She has that girl, kind of that girl next door look, but there's just something about her that's just stunning. And you start seeing it in this film, and it goes on. But like I said, this is just a fun film, but there were so many like it around from the late 80s to the early 90s with this. It just gets a little lost in the shuffle.
Is it R because of the language, I guess?
Yeah, sexual
in
content and language.
Yeah, because the back of the DVD by Tribune Media says, "See the R put back in the teen comedy, making it more raunchy, rare, and real. It's just as charming and nostalgic as ever, but how the director meant it to be." So yeah, I now watch this movie every couple of years. I absolutely adore it. I think it's great. Just so many moments that make me. And the friend that was what is it? John Cameron Mitchell. He was Hedwig in The Angry Inch. He went on to do that one. Just a wonderful, wonderful cast.
And it took me a second to realize who he was. He was the young kid in PCU, the one that was trying to figure out what to do.
Yes, yeah. PCU. Yes,
took under his wing or whatever. Which, by the way, PCU not PC at all anymore.
Yes,
and like no.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. This is Time Warp 1990, October movies and pop culture. And guys, this is 1990, which means a lot of these films were filmed and being produced in 1989. And we've been asking the question of 1990. These movies, of course, feel either 90 or an 80s film. Which of these films felt like an 80s or 90s film? I'm going to start with you, Lacey.
That's tough, man. A lot of these are period pieces. So, we got to take out Avalon. We got to take out Henry and June. You got to take out The Hot Spot. You got to take out, Reversal of Quigley. I guess Quigley was probably of its time. I think being Australian, that kind of usually like Australian, and I feel like they're, I don't know. Pop culture is like a little bit behind us, just like we're a little bit behind France and Europe. I think I'm going to go White Palace and probably Desperate Hours are I feel like those were 90s. I don't think any of these are really
I'm with you there, Lacey. Those are two great picks that feel like a 90s movie. We'll say, yeah.
If it feels 89, I'd say Sibling Rivalry. That's the only one that really, to me, goes 80s.
Yeah. Okay. I got that. Yeah.
Everything else is a period piece, really.
Yeah. Marked for Death felt like we were going in the 90s as well with that type of action film that we were getting from him. But Kyle, what about you? What felt 90s or 80s to you with these films?
Sibling Rivalry felt 80s. I think you could say Mr. Destiny felt like right on that borderline.
Yeah.
It could have. I even think Marked for Death could fall in that late 80s action feel to it, but because it's Seagal, you really think Seagal of in the 90s. I honestly do think Memphis Belle could feel like it could have been a late 80s film too.
Yeah, it's tough though because Lacey was right. There's a lot of period pieces, so you almost have to kind of throw them out a little bit. But yeah, Mr. Destiny does kind of feel late 80s to me. Like if you told me that was filmed in 88, I would have believed it.
For the longest time, I thought Mr. Destiny was the movie with that baseball movie. I really thought
it's about baseball's a key part of it. So
yeah, baseball definitely. So yeah, good call, guys. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. This is, of course, giving our final thoughts here. Movies of 1990, and guys, we're gonna tease what's happening next month for November. We got some pretty interesting films coming in November here, guys. We got Predator 2. Dances with Wolves, Robot Jocks, The Rescuers Down Under, Child's Play 2, Home Alone, Jacob's Ladder, Rocky 5, 3 Men and a Little Lady, Misery. We've got a lot to cover, so we're excited about that. And
basically one of the biggest movies of all time in that list, as far as box office goes.
Street Hunter.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little alone personally.
There you go. So we got a lot to talk about here, guys. All right, make sure you check out the Fandom Podcast Network. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Also, myself, I'm on all those as well, including Blue Sky, and also on Letterboxd. Lacey, how can we find you?
You can't. I'm here. That's where I am.
There you are. There you are. Kyle, how can we find you, sir?
Of course, you can find me all over the great pages of the Fandom Podcast Network and its social media. And you can find me personally on Facebook, Kyle Wagner, on Twitter at AKyleW. That AKyleW also applies for Blue Sky. And you can find me also on Instagram and Threads at AKyle or AKyle Fandom. So
gotcha. And please support us on TeePublic. If you want to get a cool Time Warp t-shirt like me, check out Time Warp. You can get cool apparel from all of our shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. My name is Kevin. I want to thank my co-host Kyle and Lacey. Thank you guys so much for helping me with Time Warp 1990. I know it's a little bit of a longer show, but God, there was a lot of movies to cover. Catch us again next month for November of 1990. And as we always say, I guess we'll see you in the Time Warp, basically, right, guys? All right.
Back through the Time Warp again.
Tomorrow and yesterday.
Again. Until next time, we will see you back in time. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.